pass by and be like, "Hey, yeah, you buying yourself buying some bread?"
Well, it goes back to what I brought up last night was the fact that, I mean, I would just walk up and I saw someone, this is back when the Lions were doing good, and it was a final game of the regular season against the Vikings, and there was a guy wearing a Vikings jersey, and I just walked up and said, "Hey, how do you think the game's going to go out with this? What's your opinions on this?" I mean, it was just a nice little conversation we had.
You pressed his panic button?
No. I mean, and it was a good conversation. It wasn't a person that was just automatically go, "Oh yeah, my team's gonna win. Oh yeah, they're gonna kick the Lions' ass. They're gonna win." But it's not. No, it was a lot more leveled, kind of introspective, and kind of it was a good conversation. And definitely, again, another person that was about my age. It wasn't someone younger.
Yeah, it's definitely generational. Like when me and Selena are out, it's been a while, but since we've gone traveling, but like last time when we went to California to the Blink concert, we're waiting to get our tickets, or even a better example, one of the other times we went out and we were at a hotel and we were going in through the elevator to get to where we were going. It was always either another group of people or a couple our age or even a little older that would come in, and we'd just immediately spark up a conversation. And then as we part ways, all right, hey, maybe I'll see you around. And we never do, but that's to be expected. But then if we're in there and it's, anybody a generation or so younger, either eyes on the floor, straight ahead, or on their phone. And it's just dead awkward silence, and we can be going up 7 floors.
Yeah, and have you ever tried talking to one of these little fuckers?
Yes,
they're so weird. Yeah. No offense, Arza.
Whoa!
So weird.
Wow.
They're so weird, and like they just like giggle incoherently, or they'll like try to start conversations with you for the purposes of like doing an internet video or something, which is jarring. Frankly, to be subjected.
Never had that happen.
That's jarring. I'd have to be at the grocery store one time. But here's my point. Now, my point in bringing this up. This is why I'm bringing it up. The rules of engagement for social interaction in public have changed. And I think when people from older millennial and Gen X try to wait, hold on. Can everybody hear me? We okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
I think it's just iron.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so, but yeah, I think when a lot of like Gen X and like older millennial people are trying to like Gen Z guys will be like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to talk to people? Right. And then they go to give them advice. They give the advice that fits the old rules of engagement and doesn't factor in how frigid things are now between people.
Well, wait. That that's good because you're teaching the young to do that. And then may spread it to others, and it may come back.
That's right. So I think there's gonna have to be a pivot towards meeting people in person. Like I think not just for dating, but also just like networking as a skill. I don't think networking online is going to be sufficient. I think people who can network in person are going to have a broken asymmetrical advantage over people who can't. Like if you could actually like start a conversation with a stranger, I think that skill is going to help serve you so well. However, I understand why it's fraught to just be like approaching people at random. So this is why I'm talking about this idea of like passive Rizz, which is not a concept that's original to me. So there are things you can do to make yourself more interesting to other people. And I know a lot of guys are like, Theo, why would I ever want to make myself more attractive to women? Girls should just love me for me. I'm like, fair enough, whatever. Fair enough.
Ideal. That is not a man's ideal.
Right. Here's the thing. You kind of suck. That's the thing. It's just the way it is. If you're a human being drawing breath on this earth, you suck and you could do better. And so the reason I pick out certain things, the reason passive Rizz is cool is because even if no one ever notices that you've done these things, it will be good because it helped you. So you're helping yourself the whole time. Right. And just as a consequence of helping yourself and making your life better, people are going to be interested in you. And that's going to improve your options for like networking and dating and like everything else. And it's stuff that you wouldn't think about. Like taking like a lot of guys, just taking care of your appearance or like going to the gym actually will scale your life opportunities exponentially. And I can tell you that because I've been a fat guy and I've been a hot guy, and hot guys get treated a lot better. It's
Wait, so this
not
is a chance for me?
close.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Bro, you're 22. It's like all of it's ahead of you. There's like nothing.
To your point, Theo, I love small talk. Most people in my generation suck at small talk. My parents also fucking suck at small talk. I love just like talking about anything. I was at Half Price Books earlier, buying movies with my little sister. It's my mom's birthday tomorrow, and she wanted a specific movie, Misery Alaska. And I described the movie as the film equivalent of AIDS. And some random guy who's a millennial asked me what movie I was talking about. Of course, it was Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
But like so rarely, like I'm talking about these, I say these like weird things. It's so so rarely do people actually like question me about what I'm saying because of how bizarre it is.
Yeah. Well,
if you weird people, if you out weird them, they freeze. They're like deer in headlights. They can't move.
The other weird one is talking to the cash registers. Or the cashiers, because they love the stuff there. It's like a lot of the younger cashiers can't like socialize or small talk at all. But the older ones, they're a little tismy at these stores, but they still small talk more than people in my generation do.
Yeah. Did everyone just freeze?
No, I thought there was more, so I was waiting.
We're building.
I was waiting to see who was. I didn't want to talk over somebody. I wasn't sure who was going to go next.
We're building the tension.
Kind of back to
ending all my sentences with over.
Back to what I was saying a little bit before, because it kind of goes into what you were saying. Like our experience with trying to engage the younger folk and they're in conversation. They're so awkward. Like we were both real excited. We were in line for the Blink 182 concert, and there were some clearly younger fans. And my first, hey, this your first time seeing Blink? Their response, yeah. They're at a fucking concert. They're just standing in line. They're in line at the DMV or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a group of them. I was like, yeah. First time I saw him was in 90 blah blah blah. Anything?
I do know that,
they had
there's like
and shit. They looked like they were they were dressed like they would be excited to be there, but there was just
I do know that there's a thing.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Because you're not supposed to wear the shirt of the band you're going to see. That's a faux
I always
pas.
do. I always fucking do.
Yeah, but they were young. They're stupid. They don't know no better.
I do.
Good point.
Every Real Big Fish concert
I actually was stupid.
I'd
gone to the concert the night before, so that makes it allowed. If it's a tour concert at the tour you're at, it's fine.
If it's a band I like, I will do it because I have the fucking tism for that band. So I only go see bands I really like. So I'm all for it. But there's also a thing with that younger generation is they're afraid to be embarrassed, and they think that maybe you're gonna be filming this because there's a thing with concerts. If someone says this your first time, I know back in the 90s you'd get made fun of for being your first time. Doesn't matter how old you are, you get made fun of. Like you're 15, your first chance to get to the concert. Oh, you've only seen them your first time. You're not a real fan. And I know that's a thing for kids too. They don't want to get be in that vulnerable position.
Most right now are absolutely terrified of being embarrassed, which is why I think it's really important that older generations kind of like playfully shame us for not engaging in small talk. Because once you've embarrassed us once, you can't really get more embarrassed, Just pop that embarrassment cherry, like, jab at them a little bit. Like, come on, I'm trying to have some conversation or something. Make them like aware that you actually want to converse.
Yeah.
Well, and then when we got further in the line and there was a couple or a group of people closer to our age, like we're same thing, like, oh yeah, I saw it so many times, and the fat guy like 6-7 feet tall with no shirt on came and like picks me up, like Blink 182. It's like, yeah, man, gross. But that's kind of the energy I was looking for, and just the younger one. They're very mute, very like on the spectrum, just kind of the social awkwardness. I mean, I guess I gotta be a little more empathetic because I remember, just younger people in general, even in our generation, were more socially awkward, and that's something you grow out of eventually.
But
as
here's
long
the
as
other
you
thing
work
about
on
our
it.
generation. when we were kids, our parents' solution to us talking wasn't to have a conversation. It was to shove a phone in our faces.
A device.
Play this game and be quiet.
I think you're 100% right there. That's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
Technology has basically retarded, in using the word in the right context, social skills.
I will revert to that very seldom. Like if I'm just at the end of my rope, it's the end of the fucking day, and my son does not stop talking, asking questions, I'll be like, "Hey, bud, go watch YouTube for a few minutes." But like, I encourage the questions and the talking, and so I noticed my 9-year-old son, he went from like completely like in an iPad because his mom got him one. He was at her house. That's all he does. I've noticed over the course of last year, he's like, "Dad, I want to be like you. I want to go talk to people." He's literally told me this shit. I want to go be able to go walk in a room and say something, and have people, notice that I'm in there. Like, fucking right, dude. Let's do this. So I pull him out of his tablet. I engage him in conversation. We're in the store. I'm like, "Hey, go up to that guy and ask him if ask him this joke, about what he's buying," and he does it. And he's like, "I like this." Like they want to be that way.
Well, that's
they just it's bred out of them.
Well, it's the difference of the generations and the parental upbringing of the children that's currently going on. Is it's easier just to throw a device into them. Where it's one of those, when we were younger, we were told to just go out, play, and don't come back until the street lights come on. Go interact, go out and do something. And on top of that, we didn't have the technology. I mean, we had we had few game consoles,
Nintendo.
maybe very, very basic rudimentary computers. Otherwise, we're out, we're playing catch, we're meeting people, we're going and hanging out. Even if it was just a group, just hanging around each other and talking and not really doing anything else. We had that interpersonal communication with connection that's physical, that's there, which has made us easier to talk to other people, or randomly go up to other people and just talk to them.
That's right, because when we got on our parents' nerves, they kicked us out of the house and locked the door.
Yeah.
You want to eat? Go. There's a fruit tree growing somewhere. You thirsty? There's a hose pipe outside.
That reminds something else that's weird with just the younger generation. They're afraid to go order their own food. A lot of these kids, hopefully that no one in my family sees this, but I have younger siblings that for years until they reached adulthood would freak out if we were all out and we didn't order the food for them. Like, go up to the counter or tell the waitress what they want. It's so weird because when I was a kid, my grandpa didn't want to get up. He'd be like, "Hey, go order us this, and this. You better remember everything." Okay, I'm on it. Yay. It was exciting. I'd go do it, pay for it, come back, sit down at the booth, and
Well, this goes right back to
I was proud of being able to do that kind of shit.
This goes right back to the point about embarrassment. I mean, my little sister, for the longest time, couldn't order her own food. And even now, she's still kind of teases me about it. I mean, when I was younger, I was always kind of odd about it, but only if my parents were there. Like, I couldn't order food if my parents were watching me, because I'd be so afraid of doing something wrong and just embarrassing myself in front of my parents. Well, this all goes back to Gen Z doesn't get enough shame, and therefore any kind of shame is a death blow to us.
Yeah. Back into Aaron's comment, I'm gonna harken back to when we were little. What did you do when mom needed a pack of cigarettes? Here's $10. Go walk it up to the store. You're 6 years old. Go walk 4 streets away and go give mom a pack of cigarettes. Or I give you $20. Go give me a couple cases of beer. You'd be walking home with 2 cases on your arms at 6 years old on the side of the road.
It's proper utilization of the resources at home, which is the kids. I mean, it's the whole point. It's primetime TV on a Friday night, and we're watching TGIF. And my dad looks and goes, "Hey, stand up." Okay, so I stand up and goes, "Good. Now that you're up, go get me more coffee."
Yep.
Well, that's another thing. Kids aren't given the responsibility. There's too much coddling there at home. I mean, do kids even have chores and things that they?
Kids today don't have chores. I was about to point that out.
I didn't think so.
Literally, when I was growing up, I was the only person I knew, my family, my siblings, were the only people I knew who had chores. Now, my parents gave us all of the chores when we were really young, but none of my friends, none of them had any actual household chores that they had to do, except for maybe some of them had to do their own laundry.
And you know what's weird is my older brother and myself are right at the very edge. Him more so, he's 100% Gen X. I'm right on that cut line between Gen X and millennial. And then I have 3 younger siblings. Chores died with me, and we have the same mother. And for some reason, this new like the new ones were born, they didn't have to do shit. They weren't told to go, hey, go order. I'm going to park the car and read while you go inside and rent the movie. Don't rent anything inappropriate. She goes in with them and, filters what they watch and orders the food for them, or we have to do it for them. But then household chores, same thing. Yard work, same thing. None of it. Helping so-and-so in the family or a neighbor. None of that happened. It all died with them. And I don't know if it was because she started getting scared of the outside world and society hurting them or what happened, but something just clicked and everything changed.
I could see that being a reason. Another is noticing how my oldest, how I treated her and how versus how I treated my 5-year-old at this same age. I had more patience and more ability to like roll with, Dad, you told me to do this, and I made a huge mess. Oh, okay, let me go. I'll go clean it up. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I'd rather do it myself than have to send him to do it, then go clean it, then do it again, then do it for him. Then it's like 20 minutes later, I was cleaning up the living room. Now I'm just like, fuck, I'm done. I don't want to clean the living room anymore.
So this has all. I guess what I'm saying is this fear of being embarrassed and also fear of making a mistake, it has disastrous consequences downstream, because mistakes and failure and all that stuff and being embarrassed a little bit, that's part of the learning process. Like doing anything difficult is going to require a lot of that. And so now you have a lot of folks who are just like unwilling to even attempt something if there's a possibility they might get embarrassed. And that means some of the things in life that are most worth doing require a risk of being embarrassed. That's actually fucking critical, right?
Why do you think we aren't asking women out and nearly?
This is what I'm saying. Okay, that's exactly right. Okay, so but this ties it into to like the passive Rizz conversation, right? Because I'm accepting the fact that you guys are way less risk tolerant than previous generations. I'm totally cool with that. We can live with that. But there's a lot. You know what I'm saying? You can hang up a hummingbird feeder. If I told you to go catch a hummingbird, it'd be a lot easier to hang up a feeder first, right? That's what I'm saying, right? Instead of just going into the woods and finding one, Because here's the thing. I think a lot of these conversations are like, Theo, what can I say to a woman who's not interested in me to on the spot make her interested in me? And it's like, I don't know, dude. That's really fucking hard. It's a lot easier to just get the girls interested in you and pick from the ones that are interested. That's much easier.
Unrealistic expectations.
That is not.
That's one. I have a buddy who's a lot younger than me. One reason, and I say I have a buddy, come to find out he's never liked me. And one of the reasons is he said, all the girls are into you when we go anywhere. I said, and I found this out. I said, bud, you know why? Because when I walk in, I'm casting a huge net. I'm not trying. I'm just being funny and myself. I notice the ones interested, and I start to zero in on them. And that happens to be the ones you're interested in, but you don't talk to anybody. You even tell me you're interested in them. If you said something to me, I'd back the fuck off.
Here's the thing. This is important. It's like most guys don't try on their appearance at all, especially young guys. There are some guys in your age demographic, Arza, who do not shower. They just don't. It's not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay,
that was a big problem in the 90s too.
Yeah. This is a young men problem. This is not a generational problem. This is a lot of young men don't give enough of a shit to try. Okay, so you got to understand, about half of them aren't even trying. So if you're a young person and you're like, okay, it's like you got to think half of them don't shower. So it's like, all right, that's that. They don't even count as competition. I just got to be like more interesting than the guys who don't shower. You can accomplish that by putting like 20% effort into your outfits, like just trying to look and just going to the gym. Like you can accomplish that. That puts you in the top 20% right there. Like that's really it. That kind of stuff makes, and having interesting hobbies and then just kind of like cultivating this skill in small talk. Like if you just do those 4 things, then you're gonna just like dog walk most people.
Well, the hobby thing, I think, is subjective because, like, what's interesting to you may not be interesting to her, not be interesting to him.
I disagree.
That's
What
a little
is
subjective.
interesting
I
to you
disagree
will be
100%.
interesting to her. What is interesting to you will be interesting to her because you'll speak about it with passion and you'll be able to demonstrate skill, and they'll be interesting. Right? Women like moving passion more than they like Legos. They don't like Legos.
I'm going based on experience where, like, if you talking to this really hot chick and she hears you into Star Wars, there's a good chance, less now, of course, but back growing up, there's a huge chance she is going to be like, boom, nerd, moving on.
Look, I wasn't into comic books or Batman or anything.
But
and
your personality,
got me into it.
your personality, you seem to have always been a person who is like interested in someone who's they're passionate. That's interesting to you. That's how you come across.
That's
That's what I'm getting at. Like, there's women who no matter what, if you're not interested in their shit, no matter how awesome and cool they are, it's gonna be.
I don't know.
Well, but they're narcissists and they need to be discarded completely.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's a filtering
Not
mechanism.
all attractive women are of quality. Let's get that fucking.
That's
straight
important
right
too.
off the bat.
Yeah, that's important.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
And that's why I've because Nate has constantly said, well, I mean, if I ever invited a girl over to my tiny house and she sees my D&D books and my Power Ranger helmet, I'm going to have to hide it. No, you're not.
No, you're not, dude.
As soon as she walks in, say this is the coolest shit in the fucking world.
Now
Don't even blink when
you
say
get to
it.
that point, absolutely. Your passion's going to intrigue her. When you're
never
at
hide
that
who you are.
Of course, no.
So I don't do hookup culture anymore. But back when I was active in these streets, back when I was in the league,
2 weeks ago,
back when he was in Richland.
I totally cut that shit off last week with neck tattoo girl. By the way,
anyway.
Well, he had the choking girl. He had a choking girl last week. He talked about.
That was the week before.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I humbly castrate myself before you.
Okay. All right. God. Anyway. I don't even remember what I was going to say.
You don't hook up anymore.
Okay. So I used to fill my room with red flags on purpose to see if there was anything I could do to get a woman to leave. And I couldn't find anything. The only time a woman ever left my place was I was at my lowest. I was like not really getting booked as a comedian at that point. I was in a basement sleeping on the floor. So I had one woman leave. But by the way, that's 4 women I brought back. Only one of them left. And 2 of them were there at the same time and they didn't leave. So I'm saying this idea that men have that women are just going to like pull up to their room and see a D&D book and run for the hills is just not the case. It's just not reality. And I don't, especially dude, nerd culture is so fucking mainstream now that I don't really even like it that much anymore. Like the new D&D rules suck. They're for normies and
God,
Twitter bots. They suck. 2014 rules are. I understand now why guys who were like hardcore 3rd edition
3.5 only
like 5th edition.
You see now.
Yeah, I understand. I always thought you guys were lame. Now I understand. I see what they did to your boy.
You don't want to play a campaign where you go to prom?
No,
I have to pause. My phone decided to overheat at that. Like literally, as I parked my car, my phone overheats and says, "You can't use it anymore."
You know, if you put your phone in front of your air conditioning vent and have the air conditioner blowing on it, it'll keep it cool when you're doing.
It's like 40 degrees, so I didn't have my air conditioning running.
So put your window down.
Then the noise will be picked up on mic, so it defeats the purpose.
There we go. Oh man.
What, you can't hear us now?
No, I'm saying get a Bluetooth. So but by the time you get a chick back to your place, she is already gonna have you have no doubt will have already spoken your hobbies. So she's clearly okay with it. But like in person, there's a good chance not a good chance. There's a medium chance that if you talk about your hobbies, she'll hear video games. Nope.
Well, also, yeah, I have noticed. Okay, video games are interesting. I have noticed a lot of women have strong negative view of video.
My wife was one of them.
And but also I kind of like I don't we live in a weird time, right? Where people will some people do spend too much time playing video games, right?
Yeah.
But we also live in this is something I noticed recently. It was like, okay, so like adult Legos have become a lot more popular. But it used to be like adult Legos were like you would build like a realistic looking rose or like a skull or something out of Legos. But now you've got children's properties that are Legos made for adults. Like Harry Potter Legos are super common. Disney Legos are super common.
You can get there's a
Batman,
TV.
Star Wars.
There's an old tube TV, CRT TV you can buy where you build a CRT TV.
Well, here's the thing. Well, because what the thing is that's happened is Disney's target demo has shifted to millennials now. They didn't capture kids. They didn't get the next generation of kids because the movies kind of sucked. So they're like catering to millennial nostalgia now that millennials are exiting being young and entering middle age. Like they have a little more disposable income now, and we have no kids and just like some pets. So we seem like perfectly happy to just heap disposable income at fucking nostalgia bait, right? And
the millennial was the birth of the Disney adult.
Yeah, dude. And so now we got like 2 generations in a row that are kind of like emotionally stunted and like not really like taking their place in the world. And I look like and we see little signs of it, like the fact that there's Legos for grown-ups that are children's properties. That's like Harry Potter's for children. Let's be super clear about that. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy it if you're an adult. That doesn't mean
it's an all ages story.
Okay, all right. This is what I'm talking about.
The thing is, the fans have grown up, and they have failed to capture a younger generation, because you look at the younger generation. What do they have? Any properties that are really speaks to their generation? Not really.
Yeah, well, hold on. They do. They do not. They have Fortnite kits now. There's Mario kits now. Sonic kits. I know
Fortnite is the only property.
But
Fortnite is the only property that appeals to young children for the most part.
And then there's the Friends line, which is kind of like a girls theme line, but they make some kind of like neutral type kits that some of my boys have gotten. But they do it. You just gotta look for them. They have like a smaller section on the shelf.
Well, but the problem is that's not exactly what I was getting at. I was just saying, like, all of these, like from Star Wars all the way into Harry Potter, they're these brands that now are targeting, the older groups that have grown up with it. Because is there a new thing? Is there a new IP or something that's just, captured the younger generation? And I haven't really seen it. All it is either a rehash of the old stuff or really bizarre weird shit that they can't,
that's a part of Fortnite, because Fortnite is full of kids playing.
Yeah.
You would speak to this,
and it's also got all the nostalgia bait, and it's full of older people too.
I mean, like, I was the last generation to really have these kind of like major IPs that we cared about. When I was growing up, I had Bakugan, Beyblade, Pokemon. I had Harry Potter because I was at the end of the Harry Potter line. I had Percy Jackson. The kids today, no, Darnell, no.
Skibbity toilet,
Skibbity toilet.
no, that's Shin Alpha. You offend me, Iron.
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the ones after you.
Well, the only thing is, Skibbity Toilet is just repurposed Gmod assets, which is kind of stupid, but like whatever. Yeah. But anyways, like there are so I guess there are like 3 or 4 icons that are currently relevant today, and that's with little kids, and that's Five Nights at Freddy's, Skibbity Toilet, Fortnite, and maybe
Color
1 or 2 others.
Color Friends.
I haven't heard of that. So okay. And Bluey. Bluey's the other one. It's
a huge thing.
But like I look at what kids are dealing with, especially like the tween age range. What they have is a shitty repurpose of basically everything I had as a kid. So they've got the terrible Ben 10. They've got terrible Bakugan, terrible Beyblade. Like it's a low effort, super cheap animation with 0 effort put into the voice acting or storytelling. Whereas the stuff that I had, there was actually like people my age still watch the cartoons from when we were kids because there's actually good storytelling built into those.
Arza, is this related to the enshittification you were talking about?
It is 100% related to the enshittification.
Yeah. Can you speak on that a little bit?
I think acidification is the downfall of literally everything. It is the process of turning everything to, well, shit. It is this push for progress that is absolutely regressive. It's happening to cars. It's happening to us. I mean, you go and you buy some kids' toys. I still own most of my toys from when I was a little kid. And they were like highly articulated. The paint was amazingly put on there. You know, the paint didn't ship. The pieces
It was
didn't
lead
break.
paint.
Dude, I'm only 22. I'm not a fucking dinosaur like you.
That's what I'm saying. I think is what's alarming about the cultural decay is it's happened so quickly that Gen Z notices. Like, I could understand if it had gotten shittier since I was a kid. That makes sense.
Like,
but this is fast.
For a quick example, all right. So, do you guys know what Beyblades are?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you who
So
don't, they're
explain it to the audience because
So for
my
those who
audience
don't-
is watched by cool people and hot chicks.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
we don't. So go ahead.
So
And explain
basically,
it.
Beyblades were these like spinning top toys. You had like a thing you held, and you pulled a cord to spin the top. And the goal was that your spinning top would be the last one standing. Now they had a whole show that started in the '90s, then it was remade in the early 2000s. Moses split the Red Sea with one, just because. And the thing is, you could like take it apart and you could rebuild them, mix and match the pieces. And it was a rubber or plastic base, a plastic middle, a metal ring, like a solid metal ring, another plastic piece, and then a plastic screw that kept everything together. The modern ones, it went from 5 pieces to 3 pieces, and the metal piece is now plastic.
Wow.
But the cost has gone up.
Whoa.
And like, so there's very little variety you can do with changing them.
Speaking of Beyblade, you want to see something awesome? Go on YouTube and search adult Beyblade, I think it is. You'll find guys with buffers. You'll have a top they've created attached. They'll fucking scan it. They'll spin it up, hit a button, drop it, and they'll fucking sparks fly and metal freaking like all metal, all steel tops will go at each other.
Well, all that's cool, but you know, it's not really. That kind of reminded me what happened to like Auto Shop and things where you actually built things and you got kids inspired.
Right.
I remember when fucking growing up, kids were actually like making fucking robots or trying to make their own RC cars or go-karts and shit.
But here's an example of the acidification of toys that's going to hit closer home to iron oxide. At least I hope this is the right age range. Transformers. I had some of my dad's old Transformers, and they were fucking sick as hell.
Metal.
The amount of articulation, the amount of things that you can move, the mini box that transform when you press a button, the high level material so that it didn't break, the paint stayed on. Modern ones
Diecast,
don't transform anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that because my kids buy Transformers all the time, and those have insane articulation. Like the old Optimus Prime, his legs popped out, his feet popped forward, arms came out, and that was it. You can move the legs and you can bend the knee and the elbows. Now you can pose him like he's in a battle pose, like he's leaning over shooting.
Yeah,
you
and
can do all
they
kinds
take
of
like
shit
45 minutes to transform. They actually
like
did
30
put
fucking
more.
steps.
They're more technical, and there's a lot more steps in the newer ones. Those are the ones that are targeted at adult collectors mainly.
Yeah.
But I do know what ours is saying because I've seen them there, and it's pissed me off. They have actually
kids
made
level,
more
you mean?
kid-friendly ones that don't. They're either just a straight robot action figure or a toy car.
Well, no,
And
they're
that's
not the
bullshit.
kid-friendly ones. They're not kid-friendly because when I was a little kid, I had these kid-friendly ones that were a lot simpler to transform. I've only ever had one Transformer that I needed adult help to transform, and it was that stupid Jive Bot from the second Transformer movie, the green one. I couldn't figure out how to turn him into a car. But I had one of the easy ones. It was like 10 steps to transform, and then you press a single button on his back to turn him back to a robot. Although I've never had a transformer that didn't transform.
That's what he's talking about, though. The kids ones, it's like 2 steps. You unfold the arms with the wheels, and like you push a button, and legs pop out. They didn't have that when we were little. All
It's like
Transformers
they're trying to figure out what is the shittiest, cheapest version of this that I can sell to you, and you'll still buy it.
And Clownfish TV reported this a while ago. They're actually selling Transformers in blind boxes now because the paint is so bad. There's zero quality assurance on it that most of the time the Transformers you buy are broken or missing most of the paint.
Yeah, and that's a quality issue because they are just cheapening everything. But I thought you were going to point out the fact that the ones from the 80s and up until about the 90s were actually made of die-cast metal.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until a bunch of screeching 80s moms started saying that their kids might throw metal at each other, which never fucking happened, that they did that. Just like the metal school box rumor that kids would take a metal school lunchbox and punch each other. I think that may have happened once or twice in a fight, but casualties will occur, but then they turned it all into shitty plastic.
Well, the old Optimus Prime was a die-cast chest.
Well, it goes even further than that, because
the original Megatron was almost all die-cast.
All the plastic that's now in the toys that's being used. I mean, you look at the old Red Ryder wagons. I mean, you leave that out in the rain one time and you're going to get rust. But I mean, that was actual metal. I mean, dump truck toys, the little Tonka trucks and stuff like that. That was all metal. Compared to now, it's all plastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even the plastic is like this. They're super EPA friendly plastics that have zero stability. They break after the slightest bit of pressure. They're not going to last. They're not designed to last. They're designed to be broken and forgotten about in a week.
And repurchased.
Yep.
Everything now is disposable.
And now kids don't even want toys. They just want video games. They just want technology time.
Well, they also want the blind bag shit for the whole like, ooh, what do we get now? Once they get it, they throw it to the side and never touch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the point of Transformers they were a puzzle, kind of like we had things like Simon, Rubik's Cube, things that actually engaged thought. You know, if you were a pussy in the 80s and 90s, if you looked at the instructions when you got a Transformer, that's sacrilege. Don't do it. You would have to figure that shit out on your own.
And that's rare to have.
And that's translated into how we run our lives now. Do we buy an item and get the instructions out? No, we're just putting the shit together without even looking at the instructions.
Yeah.
Why do you have all these extra screws?
It drives her fucking crazy.
Do you guys remember Bionicle?
Yes.
Yeah. There were these amazing Lego figurines that basically get assemble the entire body together. You had to put some stickers on it sometimes, but you had to literally assemble every single piece to make the thing in the box. And they came with instructions. The thing is, it was actually really hard to assemble without the label. And then for no reason that I'm aware of, Lego just canceled the run after doing nothing with the IP for 10 years. They made a couple of decent B movies. They made a shitty TV show, and then they just canceled it.
Oh, wait, I saw something about this. I think it was on the episode of The Toys That Made Us. They were in financial like dire situation when that happened. They had to cancel it. It was their most popular and marketable line, but they were like such dire straits, you had to cut that out. But yeah, so an exception to the rule is my 9-year-old son. He'll get a Transformer. Don't use the instructions. Spend 3 hours figuring out how to try to transform it. Those dummy 13s, we got him some for Christmas, and no instructions. He figured out how to put them all together. If he gets to a point where it's like, okay, it's been 4 hours, I'm done, he'll get the instructions then. But like, that's not normal for kids anymore. You have to have the instructions out from step one.
Well, and it goes back to chores, responsibility, and forcing kids to do things on their own and actually engage with people to try and bring things back to the actual topic a little bit. Sorry, Theo.
We have a topic?
And that has led to just a lack of effort on especially boys' part, on young boy and men's parts. And that's to blame on society for taking away responsibility and engagement. Huh?
You would think that. Don't stop making it dirty.
Young men and boys' parts said phrasing.
Dude.
All right.
Here's another thing to that point that Oxy's making. Because while we got rid of toys, we now embraced video games. But what has happened to video games? Every single pathing is marked with a bright yellow paint. The ladder you have to climb, it's bright fucking yellow. You spend 10 seconds on a puzzle, and your character tells you, maybe I should try throwing my axe at that tree.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Which was going to be my point. Everything has been that would be targeted at men to make and boys to get their brains and activity levels going has been dumbed down. And I'm not saying girls are dumb, but it's been dumbed down mainly for girls complaining about something that they don't really care about to begin with. To
That's
make
100%
video games easier, to change school to only cater to girls. And if a boy is acting out, well, then he just needs medication because he's not acting right. He's too out there.
And I want to
My
make sure
mother can attest to this because she's a teacher and she does not agree with how they've taken away recess and activities and things that were a little more focused on burning out that energy and levels for boys, because everything has been made to just cater girls.
I want to. This is a point too. You can see young men screaming out for challenge in certain areas. One of them is the popularity of Elden Ring and the other Souls games, because for those FromSoft games, Arza, you could probably speak to this better than I can, but they've kind of they're hard on purpose, but they're not hard, they're punishing. So it's all about learning the pattern, and you can get better at the game, right? And for people who complain and think that you should add an easy mode to it, right, the response is get good, scrub. You know?
Well, yeah, but I've seen players who are really good at the game, like fuck up the timing, and it just kills their entire run.
Well, that's it. You have to be borderline perfect. Now, to be fair, there are two kinds of Souls. Like, there are those that are challenging, and there are those that are hard. So, like, Dark Souls 2 is hard because the game is a buggy mess. It doesn't run properly. Hitboxes are all messed up, and iframes don't run properly. It's like when you dodge, you're getting hit by things you totally dodged. And the game just tries to screw you over. But at the same time, games like Elden Ring and Sekiro, they're hard because of a high difficulty ceiling. Basically, you have to be perfect at the game to do it. The game's not trying to screw you over. You just have to become on par with everything else.
Yeah.
And there's a huge amount of relief and a huge amount of feeling of accomplishment when you actually manage to succeed in these games.
Right. Go ahead.
It took me, I want to say, 300 tries to beat the final boss of Sekiro. It took me 6 months to beat that boss. And when I found it, I'm like, holy fucking shit, I'm a god. Because there was no better release than finally beating that gunslinging, fire sword wielding son of a bitch, Ishin.
Yes, I know, but this is why this shit is so engaging, because it's giving men an outlet for that feeling of confronting a challenge and getting accomplishment that they just don't have in the real world because of the way things have been set up.
You know what else does that? Battle Royales. That's why Battle Royales are popular.
Interesting. Okay, this is helpful. Well, so I'm going to tell a story about my own life because it's my show, and I'm not a narcissist. I've been tested.
Just egocentric.
And I get called a narcissist all the time, but I think it's just because people are jealous.
No, you're
not
jealous.
You're just self-assured.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Anyway, so I've been trying to set up this merch store, right? Shout out to the merch store. Be on the lookout for that. It's been really difficult. It has been kicking the dick after another. You know what, Darnell? It is difficult. Some of us have a hard time. So
it's not fucking difficult.
I'd say when I actually get shirts and like stuff and merch selling off this site, I'm gonna get an immense sense of accomplishment because it took a long time to generate the interest to justify the expense of a merch store. And then it took a long time to set up the merch store. And I had to figure out what stuff that I said and did was memeable and would be good for merch and stuff like that. And a lot of guys don't by the way, a lot of guys don't use their material in their merch. They'll sell like stickers that say Epstein didn't kill himself, and they don't have fucking jokes about that. They're just doing it because they want to make money, and that's what sells. Like, I'm taking a risk and I'm tying in merch with the personal brand as I try to grow it. Like, I'm betting that it's going to grow, because the time and effort I put in is not justified by the level my brand is at now. I'm betting that it's going to grow in the future, but I don't know. I'm taking a risk. Right? I'm risking being embarrassed. It's embarrassing to quit being a lawyer and to go do stand-up comedy. It's not glamorous. It's I'm making like, $50 to yell at strangers in a dive bar about fucking my dick. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, people thought I was going to go to court. People thought I was going to go to court. You know what I'm saying? Like people used to trust me to protect them from, like, if they got a DUI, they'd be like, wow, this guy looks like he's got it. And now I'm saying that's a risk that I'm taking. And when things go well, I get a sense of accomplishment. And when things go badly, I'm pretty much always in a state of like slightly pissed off. That's what it is to run a business, is to be just constantly a little bit pissed. But when things go well, it feels fucking incredible. It's like what you're talking about when you beat the fire guy, That's what I'm Am I relatable, Arza? Am I
relatable and insulting in the same comment?
Yep.
I mean,
that's called the backhand.
I mean, to Theo's point, first of all, he doesn't actually have fire powers. He just has some fire-based abilities. He's a sword.
Get it right.
But
you're not making it better.
The greatest swordsman.
Right. I mean, if you're going to do a backhanded comment, get it right.
Exactly. But no, you're 100% right, because men are denied challenge, at least challenges that we feel we can overcome. The real challenge in a man's life is like talking to a woman, but you've got to be high to try that. That's not going to happen. So we're going to have to go and deal with superficial challenges to make up for this lack of real life challenges. We aren't being challenged in school because we've been completely forgotten. We're not being challenged at home because we're being forgotten as well. We're not being given the material. We're not reading. We're not studying. We're not engaging with physical stuff. And so all of our challenge for young boys and men is in video games. Whereas challenges for adults like Theo is learning how to set up a simple website.
Yes.
Nice.
Return.
See that? He turned it all the way around and got it.
He returned that serve back to you so fast you didn't know what the fuck was coming.
No, he's right.
Point Arza.
Oh, good. Well done.
Love.
Well done. But that's like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, so you're saying, I guess the thesis is the challenges in video games feel achievable, and the pathway to achieving them is kind of obvious. Whereas I think life for young men right now, I think this is the thing we're missing, is life for young men right now is full of unwinnable games. And people are like, why aren't you playing the game? And it's like, because it's not winnable. And it's like, but it was winnable when I was playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but the facts on the ground have changed. So you got to kind of.
They have, but at the same time, if the younger generation would pick up some of the habits we've talked about, it would make the game playable for them.
Yeah, I think.
Well, okay, but here's what it's like. So it's a bit of both what you guys are saying. The game has changed and it's hard for us to play. We also weren't taught the tutorial level.
Right.
Mm. Yeah. So I think we're assuming a lot of prerequisite skills. Like when you say, go, like, here's how you talk to a girl, to somebody who doesn't really know how to say hi to a stranger, right? It's like, okay, we're skipping a step. We're skipping one of those intermediate
You're
steps.
on steps 20 through 50. I'm still on step 1 through 10.
Yeah, it's like be nice to like here's 10 ways to be nice to your wife. Doesn't fucking matter if you can't say hi to a stranger. You know what I'm saying? You're just like way far away from that. So actually the problem is, I don't know. So I think that's part of the problem is like people are seeking answers. They're asking the right questions, but they're missing so many of the prerequisite skills to even accomplish the advice that they're getting that it feels hopeless. It feels like it's an unwinnable game.
And shocker, college isn't teaching you these skills. Life teaches you these skills.
No,
and college is just shittier high school.
I'm shitting on college education. That's all I'm doing.
And I'm agreeing with you.
Critical thinking and problem solving. It's regurgitation of selected materials and activism.
I'm literally like, when it comes to being inside of in my classes, like the film class I'm constantly talking about, I'm out here, I'm expressing ideas that these people have never heard of before because they've never been taught how to think about these ideas. And I'm not just to my own horn. Yeah. Like I'll literally say something and none of them have heard about it. And because it is a threat to their extremely sheltered mindset, they have to immediately push back against it.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it is this: college doesn't teach you shit. Go to a trade school. This guy, that guy, that woman. Go to a trade school. Learn real life.
I was thinking about it because I graduated in May, which I'm so ready for. But I'm thinking like, I didn't learn anything. The 4 years I barely know anything about psychology. Like most of what I know was independent study. Like at best, I kind of learned how to do a little bit of like how to read research papers, but I don't know how to read like an alpha value. I don't know how to properly read the p values. I think I do, but I'm mostly wrong most of the time, and that's something that all of my peers also suffer from. We were taught these skills that weren't useful. If they be taught any skills, and most of them, we weren't taught any skills at all.
Yeah, Iron's sister, actually, his younger sister, has been in school for exactly what you're doing, and she's literally like, I don't know what I've learned. Like, she wants to keep helping people, but she doesn't get why 4 years she still doesn't really like, what am I doing? You know?
Like, the only tangible thing is I can say a couple of words in Spanish about college education.
And this is in general. College is a scam.
I've been learning. I've been working on my Spanish. Do you want to hear some of my Spanish?
Go ahead,
Taco enchilada. Okay, there we go.
I thought you were going to say
no, like college is a scam. I brought this up on the show a few weeks ago. I forget which one. You go to college in, let's say, the UK. You're going to go, let's say you're going for psychology. Your classes are psychology based. Here in America, half your classes are fucking general education. Then you got to add in your electives you have to take. Then like a quarter of your actual 4 years are fucking psychology classes. Why? When you can take 4 years of psychology classes and have a fucking master's or a PhD because you've done.
That's called the educational industrial complex, man.
I know.
Scheme.
I know.
To create a generation of permanent students that get a worthless degree and become teachers to recycle the same thing over and over in an endless cycle of funds.
My art school computer education curriculum was 50% general education classes. I didn't finish it because I couldn't pass those classes. But I was acing the freaking art classes and the computer animation classes. Like, they served me no purpose.
And on top of that, with the current, right, and on top of that, with the current setup of college too, doesn't really build interpersonal relationships either, especially with online classes and everything else. And it's also hurting the generation when it comes to actual interactions in person. Getting it back to the topic.
Thankfully, there are very few online courses anymore because most professors despise teaching them.
Well, yeah, it's because, it stems from what happened during COVID, where teachers were getting heard by parents of what they're actually teaching. And in the case of like college, especially if it's the parents that are paying for it, they're like, what am I paying? What am I paying for?
So we were talking about the major stuff. I just checked my degree audit. I'm not going to say for what school I'm a part of because I want to keep some privacy. But I had to do 120 credit hours to graduate.
Yeah.
I only had to do 39 psychology hours.
There you go.
I did 46 psychology hours. I love psychology, but only 39 credit hours were required for psychology.
And
I'm 100,000 in debt.
Because overall, it's just a matter of prescribing a medication. You don't really have to do anything past that.
Oh, I'm not even qualified to do that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. True.
So, dude. I guess, okay, I think I underestimated how retarded your generation's social skills are and just how retarded the generation is, I guess I should say. I underestimated. I thought, okay, I think this is okay. So I heard this story out of the UK a few months ago about how kindergartners were like showing up at like 6 years old, still not potty trained. And I'm wondering like if
it's worse than 6-year-olds. It's a problem with like 10 and 12-year-olds.
No way. Really?
No, my mom's an elementary school teacher, and right now she has taught 1 through 4 in the last couple years, or kindergarten through 4. And she has a potty training problem all the way up until 4th grade. She's never this has been she's talked about this in extent because it's a problem. It has gotten gradually worse. And a lot of the principals' solution to that is just change their diapers. What? No, you want me, especially as they get older. I'm not touching a child down there. She's like, I'm under the impression that is extremely inappropriate. I'm not doing it. And they're just like, why wouldn't you? You know, knowing good and well that the minute if that kid gets cross with her, that's all he or she has to do is say something about the diaper change to their parents, and it's a big fucking problem. She's absolutely refused to do that, and it has caused problems. And
God,
it's
yeah.
like she's described it teaching right now. It's like she's living on a different planet. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's also it's also with all of the technology that's being handed to the kids. I'm hearing that teachers are now complaining of the fact that kids are showing up to preschool and even kindergarten. They don't even have leg strength to go upstairs.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of she's had that problem. A lot of the kids will, as they're walking back to the classroom from reset, will do this like they want to, like a baby would, like they want to be picked up.
So,
and you know, she had a special needs kids. That would be one thing. She's always had one or two that are like, okay, they're a little developmentally, physically, and mentally behind, but not enough to be in a different class. So she'd kind of make some special exceptions for them when it came to stuff like that, like picking them up. But she was used to just a few short years ago in the early 2000s and the 90s, teaching even kindergarten to having kids already coming in on a first or second grade reading level. That was common. Now, none of them can read at all, and some of them are almost unteachable.
Yeah. So back real quick to the potty training thing is like the school district where I am. If your kids not potty trained, you cannot go to school in kindergarten.
That's how it should be.
Pre-K kindergarten. That's how it should be. Like my oldest son, we had to he tends to get like in his zone, so he forgets. He's like, oh, I just did this. So I was like, they said, look, is he putting on the end the thing to apply?
Have you tried hitting him?
It says your child must be potty trained or almost completely potty trained by the time the school year starts to be able to. If your child's not potty trained, we're kicking the kid out. And I was just like, yeah, you got to get your kid freaking ready for school.
Oh,
and it's exactly like you meant.
Gall is here. Greeter Anti-Liberal is here. Hey, bestie, she's talking to me.
Sure, she is.
The rest of you. And then Vaughn Coleman took a break from gooning to be here. Thank you, Vaughn.
Destroying cars.
This is the. So great. So great.
I love that kid. He's awesome.
Arza, you were about to go off. Go ahead, Arza.
I loosely lost my train of thought. Oh, no, never mind now. So back to what Ox was saying about how, when I shorten your name, do I say iron or oxide?
I don't care.
All right. What Iron was saying about the children, how there's really inappropriate situations, when these kids are going to kindergarten and above and they're not potty trained, they're being changed by people who don't care about them enough to potty train them, or to change their diapers. And it leads to a lot of physical, not sexual, just straight up physical and emotional abuse to these kids from teachers who have zero interest in dealing with it. I know there was one story I saw where this kid came back from kindergarten. He was either kindergarten or preschool, and they like had diapers. And the teacher wrote all over the baby in Sharpie, "Out of diapers, send more. Don't come back until they have more diapers." And like put the diaper on them.
Diapers shouldn't be at the school to begin with, unless it's a school specifically for developmentally challenged kids with special needs and with teachers that are trained and accustomed to doing that sort of tasks. Not the average public school teacher. That is complete bullshit.
So what I'm saying is,
I kind of raged out and it just went.
I love when that happens.
This is what I'm saying though. So I guess like a lot of the. Because it's like when we're talking about how to fix the problem of we have to start at the level of like just getting humans to talk to each other. I guess we got to start at the level of how to shit inside properly. Like maybe we're just like making this too complicated. You know,
you just reminded me what it is. And this is the problem, Theo. It starts with the parents, because we have a generation of kids being raised by parents that are completely uninterested and disengaged in every way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the reason they're not potty trained is because their parents ignore them because they don't care. They shove the tablet in the kid's face because they have one stuck in theirs. And the family system is not, they're not interacting with each other.
Dude.
And you know what this goes back to, Theo? What I was talking about last night and last week about how the main problem in society is a lack of role models, particularly for boys and men.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Because this is a problem of it lacking fathers and lacking parents who are willing to step up and raise their kids.
Okay, dude. So I was hanging out with my nephews the other day, or 14 and 15. and they could not hit a ping pong ball with a paddle. They couldn't do it. They didn't have if they could make contact, they could not get the hang of bouncing it over the net. Like they just couldn't hit it in any kind of direction. They just weren't coordinated enough. And so I just went in there. I haven't played ping pong in years, but I'm like, okay, sure. You just do
riding a
like,
bike.
I know the basics
Riding a
of
bike.
it. I'm fucking dog walking these kids at ping pong. But I'm like, I was never good at ping pong. Like in college, I was one of the worst ping pong players. Like, it's not like a skill that I have. I'm not like bragging about my ping pong skill. I'm astounded that two able-bodied teenage boys didn't have the coordination to get a simple game of ping pong that had multiple volleys in it. It was like kind of staggering actually to look at. But they were like really up on video games. Like they knew all kinds of like video games. And I wonder how much of that is how much time people are spending on video games is leading to like a retardation in like physical and interpersonal skills, and not just video games, right? The phone too, right? The social media, you know.
I don't think it's about how much time is spent on one. I think so much time isn't spent on others. And
oh, sure.
So because I think we're looking at I think kids play a lot of video games because they don't have any other option. Not kids don't do other things because they're too busy playing video games.
Well, I don't know, because like a lot of kids I know who are like that, who can't even go up a damn set of stairs. They have toys, video games. They have the options. They just want the one that's the least physical.
But were they
like
taught how to play with toys?
Yeah.
Yes, like my kids like have so many toys. They're fucking floors that you can't even walk in their rooms. There's so many damn toys all over the place. But they want the easiest thing to play with, which is a tablet.
I think it's like, the most engaging. It's the most addictive. It's the most like dopamine producing it's like, okay, it's because it's addictive. So it's not their fault that they're choosing it. It's negligent to let them have that much access to it.
Well,
you know, it's like, go ahead.
Oxide, if you're talking, you're muted.
Hold on.
Iron, you're muted.
Iron, you're muted.
You're muted.
Hold on.
You've been muted, dude.
Oh, poor guy. He's got it.
Talk. Say something.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all.
It's your system, I bet.
So what fixes that? What I was going to say is there was a study that was done recently that they found that kids with iPads will rather watch the iPad than get up and eat a sugary treat. And in past studies, you cannot separate a kid from a sugary treat.
No.
You put cupcakes in front of a kid, the kid's going to drop everything to eat a cupcake. And they couldn't get the kid to even acknowledge the cupcakes because they had the iPads. And I'm talking like 3 and 4 years old.
Hey, Arza, or maybe they're just getting older and they just don't like the taste of chocolate anymore.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Speaking of, Arza's getting job offers in the chat. Just want to acknowledge that. We have a very in-demand panel here at Touchgrass. He's literally getting job offers in the chat. Also, Gal was sassing me. I'll deal with you in a minute, sweetheart. You just say I'm in the middle of an important discussion right now, so I don't have time to address this.
See, he's got the hair, but he's also got that beard, so it's kind of confusing what he is.
It's supposed to be confusing. That's how you fuck Gen Z women. You got to look confusing and act like their dad. That's good. I gotta write that down.
Disappointed and aloof. Got it.
That's right. You got to be androgynous and aloof.
Have you guys noticed that a lot of Gen Z women kind of look like they're just trying to avoid facial recognition software?
Huh?
Yeah.
You know, they got the really weird, unhuman hair. They got the slits all in their face. They got the weird piercings to make it look like they're not fucking human anymore.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Okay, there we go. That's a good. That's fucking good. I'm gonna have to try that this weekend. That was good. I gotta find a place to get up. That's fucking.
You're welcome for inspiring the
God, Gal is still chirping in the chat.
No.
I'm gonna have a word with you private. I don't have time to deal with your nonsense right now. I'm trying to run it.
I'm sorry, Gal. It's the millennials' fault.
She's spitting fire, dude. I'm sorry,
bro. Leave it.
It's millennials' fault. I'm sorry.
Just-
Most of the parents who are not teaching their kids how to be potty trained
that's
are
true.
millennials.
You know what's ironic about that is the millennial generation is the cut off the parents generation. It's the I'm healing generational trauma. It's my parents abused me. It's I'm never going to talk to them again.
Well,
And now they're raising Gen Alpha to be a bunch of little monsters because they're so afraid of being mean that they won't set any boundaries or allow any challenges to proceed. They just want to make everything easy because we've forgotten the idea there is a certain level of challenge that's good, necessary for growth. Like,
and you know what this goes back to?
yeah,
The discussion on shame. Because when you tell a little kid no, you are temporarily shaming them for doing something wrong.
That is
and because they are
temporary.
so aggressively focused on this gentle parenting, there is no shaming and no controlling your children to prevent them from ever feeling any of this sense of embarrassment.
Yeah.
We're in a giant fucking circle here.
No, it's like, well, that's the thing. It's like, okay, we have this idea in our culture right now, which it did not always used to be this way, where temporary emotional discomfort is the worst thing that can happen to you. And that's where we get ideas like body positivity or let's not do slut shaming or whatever. It's all these ideas that basically giving someone information that might be good for them in the long run is bad, because it makes them feel emotionally uncomfortable in the present for a short time.
They read The Giver and thought that's how you should live.
Yes. And so we've kind of got this idea that adults can't handle difficult information. And because we haven't been giving adults difficult information, we have a bunch of adults who now can't handle difficult information. And so that's why we got a whole half the country that thinks a good political policy is like Santa Claus politics, where you just give unlimited free shit to everyone forever.
Hey,
that's
Iron's back.
Oh, Iron's back. Hold on. I had to bring Iron back.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I've been listening. All I was going to say was we have a problem where kids aren't being taught to do those things like ping pong or parents or an older brother or uncle taking kids fishing to do certain things.
Yeah.
So that's leading to a massive skill issue, and it's being compensated in other activities.
So
there it is.
Good. Oh, glad you said that. So I'm an older parent of a younger child. My kid had a parade Friday at school where the kindergartners and pre-K kids got to have you decorate a float at home, bring it. They sat in a float, walked around the street. We walked them around the street, and they threw candy and beads and stuff to the other kids at school. You can tell the younger parents from the older parents' wagons. They're the floats. The younger ones were all like super elaborate and like very well made, and all these like fucking real looking Mardi Gras floats. And they had no hand in helping with that. My son wanted a Spider-Man float, so we bought a Spider-Man tablecloth and Spider-Man birthday hanging things, and he helped me put it together. It looked like ass, but you know what? He helped. He had a hand in it. He felt proud. When it was done, he came home, Dad, where's my float? I said, Bud, I had to take the stuff off and throw it away because it was all tearing. He got visibly upset and he said, I worked on that.
Yeah.
These kids don't know that. They don't have that feeling. They don't have that feeling.
And what's also being lost there is pride in your workmanship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So remember when I did something like that in school? When I made something cool, I was proud of it. And when my dad did something for me, like my dad one time made me catapults for a science fair when I was like 8. And I had very little pride in that product because I wasn't involved in making them.
Oh, Ralphie's here.
What up,
What's up,
Sean?
hot dog?
Yeah.
So
So
the question is with Sean right now is he Zelensky or is he hot dog?
Why not both?
Well, Zelensky is kind of just a giant wiener anyway.
Oh, hey.
okay.
He's only chasing the bread.
Where was I going to go with that?
Sorry.
All right. No, that's fine. Bring it around.
This government money.
Okay. So this is kind of what I'm saying is we have a world now where men are heavily discouraged from seeking challenge by just how discouraging it is. But also we have these very, very attractive simulations of challenge. And it's not just video games, right? That simulates a lot of challenges. Also, the big one, porn. And by the way, look how closely those two get blended with something like Twitch Thoughts, right? Like now you've got like both at once, right? Kind of like sucking guys in. And that is just a much better, I think, for a lot of guys, that is a much more appealing use of your time because you don't have to face rejection if you do that. And I think that's why, like OnlyFans is so attractive because you get to like simulate an interpersonal relationship at a cost.
But that in itself becomes toxic because then it's a parasocial relationship between the creator and then the men that are just throwing a bunch of money at them, expecting they're going to get noticed and get picked out of the entire group that's sending money.
Right. And you want another
it's basically teaching men that relationships with women is strictly transactional.
Yep.
But you want another relation here that you're not going to think about? The people who pay for OnlyFans will bypass challenges in video games by paying for them in DLC.
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing. You're completely removing the struggle through monetary purpose. So
the working class man who uses free porn, he's got to hustle it out. And
you got to go through all the like shitty midget stuff before you can find the gold.
No good. No good.
Now I do have a few friends who are into the OnlyFans, and they said that part of it is also like, okay, back in the 90s, Iron Drunken, tell me if this rings a bell with you guys. It was big, like people were like, I'm gonna film it, right? Because it was like, and around here, people would do it because they wanted to see, like, I like to see someone I know, like on, like it's like another level of like, I don't know the word that they use, but it was like, oh, so it's someone I know, so it's even hotter. So a couple people I know who frequent OnlyFans, they say, I semi know this person. And it's like these expensive chicks. It's like chicks in their community. Like I know her, I see her in the store, so it's kind of hotter because it's someone I know.
Oh,
that's what they say.
It's so much hotter because I went to high school with the prostitute. That's disgusting.
That's what they say.
God damn.
Yeah, I'm with Theo.
I went to high school with a few girls that became like pretty prominent adult film stars, and I just felt nothing but like a little bit of sorrow. Like, that's what you did.
Same. There's two girls I know who made it into adult films, and I've seen both of them. Like, hey, check out this girl. She's from here. I'm like, oh. Ooh, no, turn it off. We're going.
Well, it's one of those, especially if it's one maybe you kind of had a slight attraction to back in high school, and then to see that
one of them was.
Yeah.
I do know one girl from my high school who actually did get into like OnlyFans stuff. Now, to be fair, literally her only value ever was that she had really big tits.
And now all she does is feet pics.
Into Moscato. She puts her feet like vats of Moscato.
God damn.
So he's into it.
Christ.
Where?
He's visiting.
But no, that is a good point, and that's probably the reason why I don't use OnlyFans or pay for it, is because I won't even pay for DLCs. I play a game the way it was intended. Maybe it's because I'm cheap. Maybe it's because I like the challenge, and I will start out and I will work all the way through the game without any cheating by paying for it.
Good for you.
Yeah,
man.
I'm pretty much the same. Unless it's a DLC you can only get through DLC, and it's a game I really fucking like, then otherwise, yeah. But again, that just goes back to we've kind of made everything is a monetary transaction now.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is like, okay, as we're before we come down too hard on a lot of these young guys for choosing video games and porn over real life, try to keep in mind what real life has become and how addictive these things are. Not that they shouldn't choose other things. I am saying you should, turn away from those things and choose real life because it is more rewarding, but it sucks a lot more. And it doesn't suck a little bit more. It sucks a lot more for a while. Like real life doesn't get fun until you've dumped like 20 years into fucking grinding and boosting your stats. And you can spend a lot of time boosting the wrong stats. That happened to me the first time I played Elden Ring. I had just a fucking useless build because I didn't know what I was doing, because I'm just like, I'm an adult, Arza. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have time to learn things. If a video game requires learning, I just don't have time for it.
No, I actually hate stat build based games. I'd rather just play Sekiro where there are no stats.
Bingo.
It's all skill.
So you get it. So that's kind of where I in real life is like that, where it sucks for so long before it gets good. And I think a lot of because we have a bunch of people who are not well conditioned to handle shame, not well conditioned to handle failure, they get out, they get bopped on the nose, and they're like, well, I'm never doing that shit again.
You know what else?
Yeah.
You know what else we're also not really conditioned to handle, despite the fact of how severe it is?
What?
We're not taught how to handle being alone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
I don't know anyone who could really handle being alone in my generation. And yet we're not taught anything to help remedy that.
And look, well, what I'm about to say kind of touches on both of those, but it also like connects up to the nature versus nurture. So I'm clearly an extrovert. I all the things we talk about. I want my kids to be able to be in the real world and not get slapped and shut down. But two of them that I share with not my current wife, she's just like what we just been describing all day. Won't put herself out there because she's afraid to get fail or get made fun of. Likes to stay inside, doesn't go anywhere. All these things. And like my oldest child, she hates to try new things because when she does and fails, no matter how encouraging or like comforting I am, I'm never doing it again. And she doesn't. She quits. She shuts down. And my son with that mom, same thing. Like he'll be 10 this year. He can't ride a two-wheel bike. I have tried for years, and he gives up the first time.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at. Is like, okay, you have to be able to overcome. Third foul by the jet. I don't know who he's talking about there, but yeah.
Well, we've already determined Sean is the doppelganger of Darnell, except for Canadian.
Yeah.
W's in the chat. W's in the chat for Sean not being married to that harpy anymore. W's in the chat. Thank God for divorce, everybody.
When it comes to that bike thing, I didn't know how to ride a bike till I was 14 because nobody bothered to teach me. And I literally went out like every day for like a month. And taught myself how to ride a bike.
That's common.
So this is actually kind of shocking to me as well. I'm kind of with Iron on this. Okay, so Arza, how much of this is due to like the world sucks, and how much of this is just straight up parental neglect?
Well, I would say that parental neglect is that the world sucks. The problem is that we have standardized parental neglect. Parental neglect is the default and not the exception. And so like when I was younger, my parents wanted to teach us with training wheels, and then my dad never put the training wheels on for whatever reason, like various reasons, and then they just never taught us. And that's such a common thing that happens with so many like the world sucks because parents won't parent, and it is a mixed bag between the two of them. It's not one or the other.
No.
See, in my family, like my mom got mad at my grandpa because as soon as any of us started walking, he would come back with a fucking full-size bike.
And
like a regular bike for a kid, but still it's like his legs won't even reach the pedal. This is going to sit in the garage for 2.5 years.
Let me ask you something. Who learned to swim by their parents throwing them in the water?
No.
Real? Oh, I thought y'all two would have been with me on this.
I learned how to swim early on, but I wasn't.
My grandparents have a pool. My dad, we went to the pool. My dad said, "Here." I was like 3. He goes, "You're gonna learn to swim." Picks me up and launches me in the pool.
No, I actually had swim.
That's common
class.
for here.
Right. I actually had swim classes.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I'm sending to those, but my dad was like, "No, he's gonna learn the right way," and threw me in the fucking pool.
The problem is like, so I've been watching. My little sister is 6 years younger than I am, and so I was, as her older brother, I basically was who taught her how to do everything. I taught her how to ride a bike. I'm teaching her how to drive a car, and I taught her how to swim. Most things that she knows, aside from like cooking, I've taught her how to do them. And the thing is, like, these younger people, because they've never had to deal with this struggle, they can't learn that way anymore because they'll just quit. They would rather drown than teach themselves to swim.
My daughter will call me or will try and use DoorDash and rather than go cook a fucking egg.
Yeah, and that gets to okay. I wanted to bring that up when Aaron was talking about why are people afraid to order their own food. I wonder how much of the popularity of DoorDash, because it's stupid expensive. I wonder how much of that is just an anxiety fee, where this is how much I'm willing to pay to not have to talk to a person.
I can tell you
So
right now. I can tell you the
when I was
connection.
younger, I couldn't order my own food at all. And for me, and I'm going to answer that real quick. It was anxiety and shyness and fear of people. So I don't know if it's just like laziness in some people or if it's like me.
Part of it.
No, because
part of it. Because like I own a delivery business.
Hold on. Wait,
I get no business. Because to order from my business, you've got to call and order the food, text me and tell me where it's at, and I go pick it up for you. People will pay DoorDash and pay $50 in fees just to not have to talk to anybody. And that's what was told to me. Once you get an app, people will use you because they don't have to talk to anybody.
Sure.
And you know
what this anxiety I get no business. I charge $5 and nobody will use me. No other hidden fees. Because it's easier and it's more convenient to not have to talk to anybody, just do it yourself on the phone.
You know what this anxiety goes back to? Being shamed. People are anxious of these environments because they don't want to be embarrass themselves in environments, and that's the source of the anxiety.
We were shamed. The difference is when we were shamed, we were told to suck it up and keep trying till you get it right. This generation, they were shamed and it was like, oh, it's okay. You don't have to do it anymore. Come here. I got you.
Right. I mean, it's the whole man up. I mean, it is a kind of talking about in general to men specifically. It's that whole thing: be a man, man up. I mean, yes, it's uncomfortable. You're dealing with this, but you want to know what? Once you've dealt with it once, you learn from that experience and you move on and you take it in a different way going forward. You use it as a learning experience.
Well, I want to go back to Selena. You were just talking about it. How did you kind of finish your thought, and how did you overcome that?
Honestly, it just took a while. I mean, like I never went to school. I was homeschooled. So being around people, other kids and stuff, I didn't have that interaction, and I think that made it worse.
Yep.
And no offense to people who homeschool their kids, because it's great, if that's what you want to do. But I guess overcoming it is just like you're your only person. So like if you move away from home, who's gonna order your food, right? So it's like you have to rely on yourself and push your boundaries a little bit. And the more you do it, like I would never dream that I could talk on here. Do you know what I mean? Ever. Like Iron knows. Like I was painfully shy. I would never look people in the eye, that sort of thing. It just comes like the way I overcame it was working, because I worked at a poker bar, and in order to make money, you have to speak to people. So I learned very quick that's how you make money.
Yeah.
You got a pass for being shy because you were attractive, so nobody believed you were shy. Everybody just thought you were mean.
I was a snob.
No, yeah, dude, that is so real. That is so real.
No.
Selena, they don't understand how hard our lives are.
Looking hot and not talking to people, so you just thought, "Wow, what a bitch!"
Yeah, people think I'm like
hot shy girl is sensitive.
Yeah, to be fair,
yeah.
But there's a common expression for how you're supposed to deal with anxiety. The easiest way out is to go through. Yeah, and this is something exactly. Once it gets hard, people just stop. But the brain is hardwired to create short circuits. Something that's going to move quickly, a heuristic to get you through the day. And so if you are anxious about an environment, when you avoid dealing with your anxiety, the next time you're faced with it, your anxiety will be worse. And that will then make you more likely to quit. The only way to get rid of this social anxiety, this anxiety of behavior, and the fear of being embarrassed is to experience these things, go through it and risk it, and to realize the fear is not really there. We need to teach people how to desensitize themselves to this fear. And I'm talking from actual psychological literature when I reference that.
Yeah. Well, look, my two kids with my ex. My daughter is at a virtual school where it's called Virtual Academy, but like there's like maybe 100 kids in the entire school from K to 12. She refused to let my daughter go back to public school because she was bullied 2.5 years ago. My son with her, she homeschools him, and he begs me every day. He'll call me from his mom's house, or when he's here, he's like, I hate this. I want to go to school. I want to learn to be around people. I want to learn He's literally said these exact words. I want to learn how to talk to people. I want to learn how to be friends with people. I don't like shutting down around people. The kid's 9. He says this. Both of them are begging for public school to have interaction and to learn, and neither of them are allowed to go.
No.
What the fuck?
She's refusing to let them. She's a domiciliary parent, so I have no say in anything. She can come behind me, take my legs off.
Why not get them in? Can you get them in karate classes or
I
any kind of?
I put one in jiu-jitsu, and I'm waiting to see the fallback from that. I don't know. I mean, she clearly knows by now, and I'm waiting for her to come back and from their
of course,
cruise.
Boy Scouts isn't really a thing anymore. At least not a thing you want to put your kids through.
No, they just call it the Scouts now. You know that, right?
Oh, wait.
Scouts.
At a parade last night, my daughter she said there was the Boy Scouts, and their banner said Boy Scouts Troop 125, and she said, "Boy Scouts? I thought they were just Girl Scouts and the Scouts." I said, "No, baby, they still call themselves Boy Scouts down here. They won't say
Maybe
Scouts."
they changed it.
No, it did change to Scouts, but the ones down here, they refuse to change their banner.
Certain groups are rebelling against this forced inclusivity that's destroying Boy Scouts. Which is good.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. So we've I don't know how I know this is a connected phenomenon, the way that we've eroded male-only spaces. Like, we have a really easy time, seemingly culturally, understanding that women need their own spaces away from men. We have a really easy time understanding that. At least the man has to put on a dress if he's going to go in there. We all agree on that. But for some reason, when it comes to men needing their own spaces, there's just it's like a hubbub. It's like you just proposed a pogrom if you say,
No, men,
"Hey, I think men should have their own
men are
club."
very, very, very respectful when it comes to women having their own spaces, but it's the total opposite when it comes to
most men.
Women.
Yeah.
Well, no, like women won't let guys have their own spaces. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it's like you guys want to know what we're doing in there, and it's like
Right.
it doesn't.
It's not. Stay out of it.
Well, no, I have the perfect example. So there's a common trend where girls will go to their boyfriend's house for the first time and realize his house consists of a bed on the floor and a single TV also on the floor. And it's like, you fucking live like this? And then against his wishes, she's buying him a bed frame. At least MSK appreciated one. She's buying him a TV stand. She's buying him a kitchen table. She's buying him a second set of bowls. He doesn't want that.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, his apartment looks nothing like his apartment anymore.
I want to chime in on that, and this goes to what Theo was saying earlier with men not, with even their physical appearance and the way they dress trying. I've never, I'm not a 10, so I have to work at it. I have to dress nice. I had to shower constantly. I accepted that early on, and it's done me right my whole life. But this also goes to your living area. If guys put some effort into that and make it their own ahead of time, but still nice, like, have their shit up, but make it presentable. You have no excuse, Arza. That's right. Terrible.
Well, here's the thing.
Okay, I'm only in here until
make your place presentable while still making it your own. And then that shit that you just described won't happen, because if you already have those things and they're nice, but they're yours and they represent who you are, and you put it out in a presentable manner, keep it clean, you're fine.
Now, to be clear, I was making an allegory for men's spaces, such as like D&D.
Hey, women come in and change your space.
They insulted our space for not being up to their standards, changed the space to their standards, and destroyed it from what we expected.
And something similar happened to online gaming, where men like to be aggressive and vile in the chat to each other, and that's part of the game. Yeah. And women came in and said, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And so now we can't do it. But here's the thing, women are not the objective standard for what's moral or funny. And I think we need to remember that. And that's true about the workplace too. The HRification that made the American workplace unpalatable for men was because we made it progressively more palatable for women, to the point that men couldn't function there. And women don't like it. That's what's so fucked up. It's like the same I have with She-Hulk. I was talking to a female friend of mine the other day, and I was complaining about all the shows that have been ruined for feminist reasons. And I was talking about like they ruined Star Wars, they ruined Indiana Jones, they ruined Marvel, and I was complaining about She-Hulk. And I was like, did you like She-Hulk? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, really? You liked She-Hulk? And she's like, well, I just don't think I watched it. It's like, that's the thing. We ruined it for you, and you didn't even like it.
Didn't even watch it.
That makes me so mad. And it's what we did with work. It's what we did with games. It's what we did with D&D. D&D is fucked now. Thank God the old books still exist. They fucked 5th edition with the new releases. Like, they keep ruining shit for people who don't even like the product, don't buy the product, don't watch the product. And so it's like,
for somebody that's going to be a casual at best and then move on to the next.
Yeah,
5 years, the bubbles gonna burst. Nerding will not be popular anymore, and we'll be stuck with what's left.
So I guess, yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm sensitive a little bit. So I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm sensitive a little bit to the plight of young. I don't want to bully them too, but I know some element of bullying is necessary because that men really don't grow without bullying. To be honest, especially when you're like low on the totem pole, a certain amount of bullying is necessary. But also, we got to remember they took away all the male spaces. They told men to sit down, shut the fuck up, and let women lead. And they started telling them that in daycare, and they don't stop telling them that until grad school. The further you go in education, the more anti-male it gets. It more and more and more rewards feeling overthinking. It rewards sitting still, shutting the fuck up, and doing what you're told is the main thing rewarded in education. Okay. Like this is, we have made the machinery of our culture unpalatable for men. And then we wonder why men are checking out of the culture. Like, so I don't want to be I do want them to get out there and get after it because I think just a little bit of savagery can make you just deadly because you're surrounded by like bloated, zonked out, porn addicts. If you can dog walk these guys in any competition if you're just a little bit of a savage. But the problem is, but also like, I don't want to be too mean to them for being like that in the first place. Because the reality is in a lot of ways, it isn't their fault. They were like set up.
To back up what you're saying, Iron, I know a person that we all know, you and me have had conversations with and have been very stern about it in our conversations. I've noticed it's helped. It's helped him. We bullied him a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Yeah, we've bullied him in a sense to hey, and it's working. That shell is cracking. He is growing as a person because of it. Like small part of it, but it's helping is what I'm saying.
Oh, by the way, got some Selena fans in the chat. That's pretty cool. Also, Third Ralify getting super based. Thank you. All right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is like a little bit of good natured bullying from a guy who's a little bit older than you, a little bit further along that you look up to a little bit. Like that can go a long way towards getting you to act right, But a lot of this is something Arza says a lot is that there's just very few male role models for Gen Z. I was hanging out with another nephew of mine not too long ago. I was hanging out with two of them. They were 12 and 13. And one of them, they were kind of like talking to, I was kind of like at their mom's house to kind of see their mom. And they kind of like started like inspecting me. Like they hadn't seen an adult man before. And they had an argument among themselves about which Marvel character I most resembled. And then they kind of like approached me and they showed me some YouTube videos, right? And I'm just kind of like sitting there, just letting it happen. Like, okay, they're showing me what they watch on YouTube, whatever. And I'm standing there kind of with my arms crossed, like listening to them. And I watched the one of the younger one kind of look over, kind of study me. And then he starts like copying my body posture to stand like me, right? Because,
adorable.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is, I think if the role models emerge, they will just boom because the hunger for that is there, right? But the absence of role models, and I think part of it is like I think I underestimated the role of the parental neglect issue. I didn't think about that because I was like, where the fuck are all the dads? Was kind of what I was thinking. Like, are the dads abandoning their family? Like, you don't see them. I mean, we do have more dads. The data I've seen actually suggests that dads are more involved and they change more diapers and they do more.
Well, okay, the reason why is it is survivorship bias. The dads who stay are more involved, but more dads are leaving, and the dads who leave are ignored in that research.
And are the dads that are staying applying, being actual male role models, or are they just
wet napkins for the
basically
mom?
echoing the female talking points?
Yeah, because what the culture's elevating, how it judges a good dad is, does he do the dishes? Does he help clean the bathroom? Does he
While still
change
working.
Is
diapers?
he
12
shaming
hours
his
a day.
son
Is he-
for being
Exactly.
toxically male?
Is he a sufficient whipping boy for his empowered feminist wife?
We-
That's the
like-
yeah.
Like that video where we saw where the teenage son, they had a gender reveal party for a teenage boy who came out as a trans girl, and you see the mom just seal clapping, and the dad looks like he's just dying inside, smiling for the camera because he's forced.
Yeah.
Going back to male role models, I mean, they're all only looking up to sports and celebrity stars, and then these same people turn around and then go on TV and tell them to be ashamed for what they are and to do better.
Yeah.
Think about
Do
it. That's
better,
what,
Senator.
they're all just
Remember-
recycling those feminist talking points.
I've mentioned this before, but the APA's description of how to handle masculinity, all masculinity, is to relegate it as something that is inherently toxic.
They're bad. Yep.
Well, here's the thing. Because here's the thing. There clearly is a role model void. What happens when someone emerges on the internet and tries to act as a role model for young men? They get called a Nazi, and people the HR department kind of tries to ruin their lives.
Okay, now to be fair, most of the men who have rised up to be male role models on the internet are kind of close to Nazis.
Sure. Well, okay, but to be fair, didn't that happen after they publicly executed Jordan Peterson? Like,
Yeah.
Peterson isn't, but like the douche who probably traffics women. What's his name?
Andrew Tate.
Hey, Andrew Tate. That guy actually is a bad example.
Right. I agree, but I think Andrew Tate is filling the void that was left when they said Jordan Peterson wasn't allowed, because they called Jordan Peterson a Nazi, and I think a lot of people were like, okay, well, if that guy's a Nazi, fuck you then. I guess I'm a Nazi too.
Yeah.
I think a lot
And this
of
is
people
why
did that.
taking out all forms of positive masculinity and positive male role models has left a void that can be filled with absolute fucking dog shit and trash.
Oh, you know what? It's
Bad
been filled with?
advice and bad examples.
This lack of male role models has become replaced by gang leaders. Men needing some kind of patronage and some kind of leadership will follow into gangs because the gangs offer a ton of masculine and patriarchal reinforcement.
Sure.
That's 100% too. Watch any interview with totally reformed former gang members and gang leaders, and that's always the first story they tell. They didn't have a male role model in their life, so they leaned on, dude on the street who had a whole lot of street cred and devolved into that.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, as much as I don't want to say it like this, males in general are kind of a pack animal. I mean, there is a hierarchy. You do have your group leaders, and it's a system that just falls underneath. And it's a good leader of the group, and whether it be a good role model, and kind of looking at it from the gang aspect, if you're looking at it from a good group of guys, you do have a couple that are going to kind of take the lead, and then you have the rest that are underneath that are part of the group. They're interacting just as much, but maybe they're a little more hesitant. They're not the ones that are going to completely take the lead.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, does any of the guys remember the commercial back in 2020 where they did it was like a shaving commercial? It was like
Gillette
or something.
Oh,
Gillette,
that was the worst fucking commercial.
Wasn't that stupid? It took a guy. Every scene was like a male, like telling each male that you are a bad person and your toxic masculinity has ruined things and be better. And that was such a garbage message.
Yeah.
Don't talk to women, especially you, white guy. What are you doing?
Don't talk to women.
That's okay. I identify as a feminist, so I mean that literally is
I
what
can
that
abuse as
commercial
many as I
was.
want.
Here's the thing. Like, I'm not saying toxic masculinity does exist and it does ruin things. Like, for instance, Genghis Khan used to ride with his horse lords around to villages that he didn't own, and he would say, I own this now. And how he would demonstrate that is he would kill all the men above a certain height and then kidnap and impregnate all the women. Right? Yeah. So that seems pretty toxically masculine to me. Okay. But what I'm saying is this is not the most toxically masculine moment in history. In fact, I would argue this may be the least toxically masculine moment in all of history. And yet we're absolutely obsessed with toxic masculinity. And that's all we talk about is how much of a problem that is. Actually, I would say that there's a much bigger problem coming from the feminist side. I
was
would
gonna
say
say
Toxic
toxic
femininity.
femininity.
100%.
Yes,
Yes, because
absolutely.
and I think it's because it's unbounded. I think what they're doing is they're crying out for boundaries. This is like when, okay, I say that I use this metaphor a lot, but like when a little kid is like running around a grocery store, you know, they're not doing that because they want to run around a grocery store. What they're saying is, someone, for the love of God, please love me enough to stop me from doing this. Someone pay enough attention to me to stop me from doing
So
this.
what
I
you're
need is
saying
boundaries.
is we should start beating them again.
No, God, Arza, we're on YouTube still. Can we?
Dear God.
I haven't figured
In
out Rumble yet.
Minecraft.
And God damn. Okay. All right.
No, I
so-
think just being allowed to confront women when they're wrong and actually argue with them without being told that you're being a misogynist or toxic or this or that or
Right.
mansplaining a thing that doesn't exist. Being allowed to have arguments or even being allowed to call out a woman that is behaving in a toxic manner or being, you know, hey, that's not acceptable in any group. Why are you acting like this? And men are to blame for this too, because going back to a few shows before, they will enable it through white knighting.
Yes.
Don't pick on her.
Yep.
Yeah.
She has X, Y, and Z, and I like the way she looks. Stop saying that. Don't confront so and so for being bad. Never, 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 never. Fuck off with all of that.
Look,
And the other problem is the sisterhood. You know, you can't really criticize a woman because another woman's going to come out and defend her regardless of the context.
Yeah, well, and this is okay. This is important. Also, the other thing is like, it's also how you do it. So you have to, if you're gonna handle a confrontation, I've actually put on a clinic on this not too recently on a recent episode, but like basically, unfortunately, the reality is if you're gonna disagree with a woman in the current cultural context, you have to be very careful about how you do it. And you actually, if you find yourself raising your voice or becoming emotional, the best thing you can do is leave the interaction. I really think so.
That's true.
You have to be able to maintain like perfect emotional neutrality, stay on the topic, and just be aware of what's going to happen too. You're going to be shamed. You're going to be insulted. She's going to try to rally other people to agree with her and oppose you. And it's all going to happen very quickly. She's going to say things that don't make sense. She's going to deliberately misinterpret the things that you say. And you have to be able to know that going in and just sit there and just calmly let it happen and be like, well, I didn't say
Those
that.
are like irrational and like full of emotion, and you can't get a word in edgewise because they have to be right.
Yes. And
Yeah. So they will use tears as a weapon.
I have an example of this. I was at kind of a dive bar at a comedy open mic. So open mic comedy, there's people who are there working out stuff, and then there's dudes who are just going to just say a joke they thought of. And there was a dude there from Montana who I'm in Spokane, so it's a long drive, and he drove out here because that was like the nearest open mic he could get to, and he's just doing some fucking hick knock joke about fucking sheep or whatever, and some woman at the bar who's 3 sheets to the wind already starts booing him. She doesn't like the idea of somebody fucking sheep, I guess. And I'm like, don't boo. That's not nice. No, but it's a comedy open mic. And he came from Montana, and he's not a professional comedian. He's just a guy, you know? So my philosophy is open mics. Like, it's very common for a homeless guy to go sign up, go on stage, say unhinged nonsense for 4 minutes and then sit down. Then that's his right. That's the way open mics work, right? It's open mic. It's not fucking, live at the Apollo, right? You get what you get. And this guy from Montana wanted to use his time to talk about fucking sheep, and that's his right as an American. So I'm sitting there, and she starts booing him, right? Now, he drove from Montana. This is not a nice thing to do. And I'm like, hey, don't boo. That's not nice. And she's like, and her response to me, I will never forget this. She looked at me and she's like, how dare you, a man, tell me, a woman, what to do? Who are you? And I was like, I'm just a guy with decency. It's not nice to boo. And she was like, who are you, a man, to tell me? And I'm like, just don't do it. It's just not a very nice thing to do. I don't think you should do it. And she's like, who are you? She just got loud. She didn't have like a new point. So she just got louder. And so I was like,
volume isn't an argument?
Right. And so I was like, well, you seem great. God bless. And then
at what point did you take her home that night?
Hopefully there was no red flags.
No, the punchline is that's what she started saying when they got home, and he was starting to tell her what he. Who are you, a man, to tell me what to do? Well, are we gonna have a good time or not?
He was telling her, pick your hips up, and she started telling him that.
This was the response to him asking.
You know what? We're already here. Just do what you want. I'll lay down.
Yes. You know, it's crazy. It's like you got to understand. Like, if you're gonna confront a woman, that's how it's gonna go. And also the fact that if they're fighting with you, they're probably into you. That is how feminists flirt. You got to understand that they flirt with hostility. Like, feminists will look at a man she's attracted to, assume he's an arrogant, toxic member of the patriarchy, and then go try to fight him.
Sean's comment.
That's great.
It is for real gonna be like that. It is for real. The mother of my children is gonna be some like toxic bar feminist that I deprogram with just the power of like stroke game. You know what I mean? Just gonna...
She was an ultra feminist, multi-hair colored, and everything down with the patriarchy. But that one night we spent together completely changed her entire perspective. Yeah. She was already in the kitchen making me a sandwich and calling me daddy.
By the way, I am single, by the way, ladies, just so you know.
So your argument is it takes one good dicking to cure a woman.
I do think, well,
He's
I think
said
it takes
that.
a baby. I do. Sometimes it's more than one. Sometimes it takes a baby. Like Melanie Mack, I don't think she needs one dose. I think she needs at least a kid or two to
calm down.
Yeah, which I'm right here, by the way. I'm on. Look, this is broadcasting on Twitter now. She's probably watching right now.
Behave yourself then, so you make yourself more appealing.
Well, and to be a little bit serious, her reaction to you by going right to that, who are you, Amanda, to criticize me in any way whatsoever, goes back to society. Society has taught women that men are not allowed to do that under any circumstances, and it has taught men that they are not allowed to do that under any circumstances, and that's the problem.
Yeah, which is...
You should have just hit it back with, who are you, a woman, to not be smart enough to understand what I'm saying?
No, well, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's very fun when you're young and you think you have unlimited time on earth to get in little like snippy, pithy like battles like that with feminists, but life is short. And it's just never gonna, it's not gonna be fun enough to get back all the time you waste. These people aren't changing their minds. So that's why I think the best thing you can do is just have emotional neutrality with it. Because if they can get you into an emotional space, they're gonna dominate you because their emotions are gonna be all over the place.
They will?
Not
that kind of dominate.
No, not that. No, so here's the thing. They're going to be all over the place. So what you need to do is just be totally neutral, totally relaxed, keep that heart rate down. And we'll talk about that on another show, but keep that heart rate down, like stay in your place and just like kind of dodge. Because remember, you're fighting with boxing rules and she's fighting with prison rules. So there's not like a way you can, where she's allowed to bite your ear off and you're not even allowed to really play defense. So like there's not like an incentive for you to enter any kind of conflict.
So what he's saying is don't argue, just fuck.
Right. If you could skip straight to the fucking, that's ideal, obviously. But
okay, but what if that's what we're arguing about?
That's what? Dude, if you're having, dude, I think we're a couple of steps removed from you having that problem, don't you?
But to watch a couple arguing about that is hilarious. It's really, really funny. I got a buddy, and I myself have argued with a girl I was with at a bar about what we're gonna do that night, and it's funny to watch. It's funny to be a part of that conversation and kind of like take a step back while you're having the argument. Like, we look like two fucking idiots here arguing about what we're gonna do when we get home.
I was gonna say, is it fun for other people to watch you have that?
It is because sometimes it gives people watching ideas for themselves.
No, it's just fun for you.
It does.
There's a word for that.
Hey, the views of panelists are not necessarily the views of Touchgrass as a whole. I just want to be clear about that. We're not.
We know now Darnell's a voyeurist.
Yeah,
we've made it very clear I'm into weird shit.
Darnell is not associated with
We
Touchgrass.
know.
Yeah,
I just
please
got a legal note from corporate Touchgrass LLC. Neither approves of or condones the statements made by Darnell Quigley.
Thank you, corporate. Yeah, please. And the official position of Touchgrass is keep your freaky ass conversations to yourself. Have that shit in the car on the way home, maybe. Not in the bar where I can hear you. I ain't trying to hear all that. Like, god damn. It's got Striders in on this too. It's part of foreplay. Fuck you guys. Why are you guys so horny? You guys should have the horny show. It's just you guys talking about horny stuff.
Well, that's what your shows are.
You see, yeah, we're horny because we aren't comedians. You can lay every 20-year-old we see.
Okay, that's not every 20-year-old I see. That's
Every 20-year-old without any standards that we see.
That's
No, just the one with neck tattoos
Strider.
and nose rings.
They don't all have tattoos on their necks.
Strider's last comment. Once the camera's off, I'll get high fives from everybody. It's fine.
Yeah. Third Ralify wants to be on your horny show too. There we go.
Oh God.
God. Why? So it's
Where?
a horny. All the guys. God, it's all the guys who've been divorced before who are the horniest. What the fuck is up with that?
There's a reason why we're like that.
Damn. So it's not encouraging. And Arsa, let me ask you something. Just while we're sitting around talking about it, how do you feel about marriage for you and your generation?
You know, I think a lot of people either actively or passively want to get married, but I think there's such a strong fear of that, 50% of marriages currently end in divorce rate.
Yeah.
And, everyone's kind of worried that they're going to try to get married and they're going to get with the wrong person and kind of ruin their life. So everyone's, especially a lot of men are just like, yeah, I'm just on the back burner. I have my safety net of like, if we're both single by 30, we'll get married because I have like 4 of those. You have to fight to see which one I end up with.
It's
But
not
like,
freaking Pokemon. You're not supposed to catch them all.
We're not? We're not supposed to
I've been
collect
doing it
wedding
wrong.
rings?
No, this is my plan to start a harem.
We'll move to Utah.
Oh my God.
Move to Utah. It's illegal.
But I don't
Okay.
think very many Gen Z are too optimistic about marriage. Even the
Yeah,
ones
that's
I know,
kind of what I was thinking.
like I
yeah.
know only a couple of people who are actively I know people who are actively getting married, but most people are doing like nothing around that.
Yeah, and that's not something. Here's the thing: it's not something that's just gonna happen to you. Like you actually have to like put focused attention on like finding a relationship, especially in like today's world where people don't just like it used to be. You just like meet people as a consequence of hanging out at social settings, and you just kind of get together that way. And you can kind of rely on serendipity. But nowadays, I think you have to be a lot more intentional. This hoping you accidentally bump into a stranger is just like it's just with the way society's set up now. It just doesn't seem likely.
No.
You see that? But I'm saying we should rely on that.
So it's
I'm
wrong
gonna
to go
call-
to the grocery store and just walk up to a woman that is in the produce section and just say, "Hey, that's a nice melon you got there."
It'd be like, no, you say, what that mouth do, bro?
I'm gonna
Say it.
Do not do that.
You
Good Lord.
What it smell like?
That's the
What it tastes like.
bro. Here's the
I was gonna
thing.
ask,
Uh,
are stocking shells a
I'm
little
dying.
short on baby carrots?
Yeah, you gotta.
Hey,
Got
it's
it.
bigger than me. Want
Yeah.
to see? No,
Holy
I'm calling all you fuckers out who shame me about the conversation thing. Tell me you've never watched a movie and there was like an intimate scene and it didn't get you or your partner into it where you did stuff. Tell me it's never
We're
happened.
not doing this.
Tell
I
me
don't
it's never
wanna-
happened. No,
All right,
tell
so
me
we know
it's never
Selena's
happened.
answer. We know
All
Selena's
right.
answer.
All right.
You can't shame me. You've
wasn't
done
my
it. It's just a different setting than watching 2 people in person. It's the
All
same
right.
thing.
All right,
Okay,
can you-
okay. So I will.
We have a healthy relationship. We don't need
Yeah.
outside influence. Thank you.
Right.
That's it. You need it. It happens.
Oh, shit.
It happens.
Hey, Darnell. Hey, Darnell.
So here's my answer to your
Oh, wait, that's
question.
me. I don't know if that's correct.
He leaves. No answer is an answer, sir. No, so yeah, y'all shame me for that shit, but I know you've either were with someone, saw an intimacy, and either acted on the feelings or were by yourself and acted on it. So shut up. Y'all have done it in a different setting.
No, you see, I just do that when I go to bed. Come on. I don't do that when I watch movies.
Are you just a caged animal? Is that what the problem is? Is that
me? Absolutely.
We're learning way too much about Darnell.
This is an anti.
You say no, you're lying.
This is an anti-gooning platform. I want to be clear about that. If we could,
I have no clue what that means, so it does not affect me.
I really like how Darnell is the only one on this point, and yet he thinks everyone else is secretly on it.
Because y'all are. Y'all are. I'm the only one completely honest about it.
Yeah, you guys are all going to give me high five behind the cameras as soon as it's off.
Okay.
Ryder said that. I just agree with him.
No, I can't get into any of these movie porn scenes because there's too many women.
Oh God!
I'm just the only one honest enough to admit it.
All right. Glad we spent a lot of time on that. Diana's raising up a good point in the chat. What's today's topic? I'm lost.
This is the weekend of free-for-alls. This weekend is free-for-alls across all platforms.
I wanted to. Anyway, I think part of the problem is I was too ambitious. I think I underestimated how difficult the problem of people actually like meeting each other is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
That actually, I think I underestimated that because I was like, okay, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. That actually is like more complex than I thought it was.
For like 30 minutes, we were really on topic.
Yeah, we were crushing it there for a while before fucking Darnell decided he wanted to die on the horny hill.
No. I'm not taking full blame for this.
Bro, we have it on tape.
Yeah.
I said full blame. I'll take some blame.
Oh, man. All right. So this is what I'm saying. So I don't know. Let me see if I can bring this back around to the topic. We'll see what I can do. I think.
Oh, I know how you know it.
Tell me.
Okay, so this is all again a symptom of technology that it's now people are more inclined to do unpersonal connections to the computer screen, to a movie screen, instead of going in person for those interactions. And because of that lack of personal interactions, it's making it hard for human connections.
Right. And that's why, because we're not in person, Darnell thinks it's okay to say things like that.
I'll say it in person. I'll say everything I say in person.
Okay.
Wait, okay, to bring it back, Darnell, what was your relationship with your father like?
No.
It was semi-existent, non-existent.
Arza, you're supposed to charge for that. You're not supposed to give it away for free.
Yeah.
I'm just going back to the role model point. That's all.
Well, like I said, Arza can't afford me.
That messed up.
So, anyway.
It's also men not being conditioned to have to try or want to try.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is like, okay, there's certain things you can do that are not as scary, where the barrier to entry is lower than like asking a woman you don't know on a date, but they will make you more attractive and they're good to do anyway. Like going to the gym is like that. Taking up a cool hobby, like maybe you want to get into hiking or rock climbing or fucking D&D or whatever you want to do. I don't know. D&D is probably not great for meeting chicks, but like at least you're into something. Being passionate about something is better than nothing, especially if you get to go, if it forces you to go outside and like interact with the world. Anything you do that makes you more social, or, you know, and also like putting a little bit of like just a small amount of effort, like Iron's right, putting a small amount of effort into your appearance goes a long way when half the guys out there aren't even showering.
Yeah,
dude, I'm telling you, the competition is just not as stiff as you think it is. Like, because you see on the phone, you see the elite 10% of men, and it's like, you don't have to be that, right? You just have to be better than the guys like around you. And that's unfortunate. And it is a competition, you know, unfortunately, that's reality. I know we've done our best to like purge competition from society, but the reality is that's how it works. So if you think about it, you know, if everybody's given up, if everybody's zonked out on porn and video games and not fucking showering and not approaching women, if you're even trying a little bit, you're probably in the top 20%.
Well, it's because it's technology, and the way society is working right now is it's removed survival of the fittest, in the sense that to pick a mate I mean, it's no longer really a competition and a battle because no one's really doing it anymore because everything is so protected. And so because everything growing up for the younger generation specifically is so protected for them that they can't deal with stepping outside the box. They can't deal with that possibility of being uncomfortable because they've never had to deal with it. Again, this is another reason why you have the younger generation that's so easily offended by words.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay. So what I would relate this competition to is it's like when explorers from Europe first got to tropical islands, a lot of the animals there didn't have natural predators, so they would just like freeze, and the Europeans would just go home and like hit them with a club and then eat them, you know. And that's kind of what your competition is because they're like so soft and docile and their dopamine receptors are fucked, right? So if you can get just like a little bit of fucking discipline, right, then you could just like club them in the head and keep going. You know what I'm saying? Is this metaphor breaking down? Do you see what I'm saying? See what I'm getting at, Arza?
No, any chance to club women in the head, I'm all for.
No, not women. That's
He doesn't mean with your dick.
That's not. Oh Lord.
No, meaning the basically
now
the
damage done.
competition.
Yeah, you could actually do really fucking well. Like, here's the thing: you're gonna look so cool if you're willing to take any social risk. They're gonna look at you like you're fucking Hercules. You don't understand the value of social risks, things that are not physically dangerous but demonstrate sort of a devil may care attitude. Like, you're not afraid of potential social shame, especially if it goes well for you, or even if it doesn't. Even if it doesn't, this is kind of what like Darnell was talking about when he's like, you know, just like being funny socially, like making a joke is a risky thing to do because it might not go well, you know? So just the willingness to try, you know,
so look at the whole point with businessmen. Successful businessmen are out there, and a lot of times those successful businessmen have failed multiple times before they became successful, used it as a learning experience and took that risk. And unfortunately, it seems like society right now is so adverse to taking any kind of risks. They're just trying to stay unnoticed below everything else so that there's no uncomfortability, no stepping out of the box, everything is protected, everything's great.
So there's a show I watched called Shoresy. It's a spinoff of Letterkenny. It's on Hulu and it's a Canadian show, but it's about a guy playing hockey and he ends up coaching. Well, he takes on this youth group. He's like about my age. He takes on these like 4 kids who are 18 going off to like professional hockey teams to kind of like give him like a last minute, you know, like I guess guidance over the summer. And this one kid, he's 17. He's into this 23-year-old chick, and the whole season they're making fun of him. His friends making fun of him that she's old, she's out of your league, this and that. And the whole time he's like, dude, you just got to make yourself vulnerable because like he's into the main character, Shorty's into a chick, and every Wednesday he goes sing karaoke horribly to her, and she loves it. And they spend the whole season convincing him convincing the little kid that make fun of yourself, make it silly, and you'll get her attention. So like they make him do karaoke. They all join up with him on stage at the end. They come up with like this big, goofy, dumb dance at the end of the season, and he gets the chick because he made himself vulnerable. He made fun of himself. He showed her, you know, hey, look, I'm willing to I guess bear how I feel about you in front of a whole room of people. And she reacted to it, which is what I was meant by walk in, be the funny guy, not over the top, but be enough to like, you know I'm making myself look stupid, but hey, this is me and I'm having fun.
So that's why it's not working out for me, is me walking in with a huge melon and a mallet and trying to do Gallagher skit.
Gallagher's not the way you want to go.
No. See,
you know, kind of to that point, you know, I might not be able to talk to him, but you know, I go into class every day to my one film class, and I'm out there and I'm running my mouth and I'm saying things that.
Well, there's your problem. It's all liberals. It's all liberal chicks. Well, yeah. That's your problem.
Oh, that's like, you know, I've had 2 people agree with me all semester long. 2 people have verbally agreed with me, and there's like. But that's still kind of what you're talking about. You know, you've got to go. You've got to take that risk. Otherwise, you're kind of just dead in the water. And, you know, if there were people who were like, had an interest in anything I had to say, they would have made themselves known because of me speaking up. Sadly, none of them exist.
Yeah. Well, that's also part of it is we're looking at Red Strider. Strider's making good points in the chat. This is our good friend of the channel, Full Metal Nate. Go check out his stuff as well. I'm going to be on his D&D game a little later today. He's talking about, I think he's Gen Z, and I think this is broadly reflective of the attitude. It's just they stay where it's safe, because a lot of this is this is kind of this is Red Strider giving some cultural analysis. Yeah, and it's like I think part of this is like the fear of social shame is preventing you from doing the necessary fuck ups at the beginning to get good at stuff. And anything you want to get good at is going to require fucking up a little bit. And that's especially true with talking to women. It's just awkward and shitty and embarrassing for the first 100 or so times you do it. That's just how it is. And then eventually you're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
I promise eventually you're going to get better at it.
I'm really great at public speaking. I never took a public speaking class, never took a public speaking seminar or anything.
Yeah.
I just did it. I forced myself to do it and made fun. Now, when I public speak, half the time I have no clue the fuck I'm talking about. I'm talking out of my ass. I have a rudimentary knowledge of the topic. Yeah, you see? But I'll do it anyway. And half the time, well, more than half the time, I come across as I've picked up. I'm going to use this term for Gen Zers, or whatever term we're using for next generation. I forgot already.
Zoom tards.
Okay, that. I pick up more followers. I get more people interested in me, whether it's they're into me and they ask me out, or into me and they want to be friends with me.
No,
it's a lot of falling on my face and look like a fucking idiot until I'm like, hey, now I can fake it and make it.
One thing I've always prided myself in is in my classes, I give the best presentation every year. Whatever class I'm in, I give the best presentation because I don't write a script. You couldn't pay me to write a script for my presentation. I go in there and I do it all by the fleet of my pants. I make as many jokes as I can. The goal isn't to educate, it's to entertain. Because if I entertain the professor, then he's going to remember me more and be more likely to give me a positive grade. And if I educate as well, great. I mean, last year at the end of the semester, we had to do a presentation on human nature and technology, and everyone did the exact same presentation. It was boring as ever. It was fuck. It was terrible. Everyone was rambling. Everyone was reading from a script. It was just all about AI, and I'm falling asleep. I go up there. My presentation is about video games and how they are the next avenue for discussing philosophy. And I go up there and I'm making joke after joke. I literally I had to boot it up and it was taking a while because the computer wasn't working. I took the time and I just did a shitty stand-up routine for 30 seconds while I got it to work. And I got the highest grade on that assignment. I had people coming up to me telling me how awesome my presentation was compared to everyone else's. I had a point other than self-aggrandizing, but I lost it.
Well, okay, so this is kind of what Darnell's talking about is one strategy of being boisterous and funny, but it also works if you work on your appearance and you do the best you can to make yourself more interesting by learning and reading books and being interesting, and then you meet a woman, you're like, what do I say to her? And then she's interested in you because you're interesting now because you've been working on yourself, right? So you're interesting now. So now she's interested in you, right? And she's kind of floating in your orbit. Here's what you do. You ask people personal questions. Ask people questions about themselves and then shut the fuck up.
Yep.
It's not about what you say. Most people just want to talk about themselves. Women are like most people. They just want to talk about themselves. And a lot of women are not used to being listened to. So if you listen to her and you say things like, say more about that, or you repeat what she said back to her in a soothing masculine voice, women love that shit, right? Here's the thing. Women are so used to not being listened to that if you listen to a woman, she might just fuck you out of gratitude. I'm serious. If you actually take the time to listen to her spew all her bullshit and get it all out and then just go, she might just, give you the good. You didn't have to, here's the thing. You didn't have to say anything. That's the point. A lot of guys get so caught up in how do I say something impressive? The most impressive thing you can say to a woman is say more about that. Oh, or that's interesting. Tell me more about, or ask follow-up questions and be interested.
Connect to, she just talked about this.
You're 100% right.
Too. Connect to it.
That's kind of a problem just with society in general. Too many people are too inward thinking that they don't even know how to engage conversation with somebody and actually listen and actually talk to them and, focus on what they're saying instead of waiting on their turn to talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's everybody calm the fuck down.
The one that I think works the best is when you say, "I'm sorry that happened to you."
That can go either way with that.
I don't know about that one.
That's a pretty. I mean, I'm sitting over here and everything that Theo says. No, there's nothing wrong with what Theo says. But I just see with Theo, it's just at the end there. I kind of saw it as, how can Daddy help you?
Yeah, for real. Okay, now listen. I will say
closing pitch.
Listen, I will say this on that. I'm sorry that happened to you. Like, if I meet a woman and she says something really feminist and confrontational, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm sorry that happened to you." And she'll be like, "What?" And I was like, "Whatever man treated you so badly." And if you say some shit like that, that will that throws a wrench in the gears a little bit. You can see them like short circuiting in real time. And a lot of times they start crying. Like for real. I've done this numerous times. It's gotta
be a Northwest thing because that doesn't happen down here.
I'm just better at talking to bitches than you. That's what I'm saying.
Because they're having their come to Temu Jesus moment.
Exactly, dude. I'm telling you, you just kind of like show them a little bit. I was like, listen, this is what I've used a lot. Like if I will deliberately say something a little bit confrontational, and the woman will be like, a lot of times, like, I agree with what you're saying, but I need you to fix your language. And I'll be like, okay, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to ask you to do something really challenging that hasn't gone well for you historically. I'm going to ask you to trust a man. Okay. And then I'll kind of like let that sit for a second. And I'll just be like, okay, all of your complaints about men are valid. And then I'll just like let that sit. And a lot of times they start crying after I say that. Like, all of your complaints are valid. Like, dude, your emotions about men are valid. And they'll just start like break down crying, like, "Oh my God, it feels so good to hear a man say that." Right?
Women aren't like that in the South.
You got to break through that threshold of like that emotional wall. You got to break through it and get to the hurt underneath. Because when a woman is in a very confrontational space, she's not supposed to exist that way. That's like bad for her emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. Like to exist in a state of like confrontation where your survival systems are like constantly activating. You're just like, brr. It's like not good for people to exist that way. So if you can just know that comes from a place of hurt and it's not about you, she's not yelling at you. She's yelling at her dad or something. You know what I mean? It's not about you. So she's yelling at somebody who's not there. So you just got to be like, "Hey, I'm sorry that happened." And you can kind of and then you can flip the whole frame of the interaction. And then you can, honestly, I've done this. I do this a lot. So I know what I'm talking about. You could do it. Try it next time. Arza, try it next time some harpy is like shrieking at you in class.
On the opposite side, if you surround yourself around based women, you don't even experience that.
That's true.
I'll say conservative women.
That's what I was getting at. The more conservative people around here where I am than where you are, which it works on conservative. It works on liberal women. What you're saying,
that's
does.
right, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's real. Like, I was just in Portland, Oregon. Holy fuck, man, that city's lost. It's over for Portland, dude. Like, oh my God.
Yes, Iron. I just saw your comment.
I was a beating.
Yeah, he did. Third Ralify just gave me some great material. This might be awesome. Going up on your merch store if I do it right.
We need a shirt of 3 minutes of AB2.
You do it right. You mean if he sets it up right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're working on it. We're working on it.
Between now and Curse Stroud, I'll have your store set up. All right.
Okay. You need this in a hat, though. Yeah, you need that in a hat.
Yes, I agree.
Feminist Whisperer.
That's just the title of your first Netflix special.
I'm gonna have to use all my tools to make this one perfect. We're talking AI, Photoshop, deep fake, everything I have. This will be my Sistine Chapel. I swear to God.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Woo. All right, folks. Well, this has been fun. We've been at this for a couple hours. What do you say we wrap it up and do some outros, huh?
Yeah,
like
and then head off to the
wrap it up
store.
like Theo Snodgrass with a girl with a neck tattoo.
God damn. In all seriousness, if you are going to have sex with a girl with a neck tattoo, do use condoms. That is important.
But they're so expensive.
Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool and
God.
make sure that you ask them what man is hurting them.
Right.
Now, I just wanted to touch on a little bit serious with the whole thing that we were talking about, like, you know, dress nice, take a shower, you know, take a little pride in your appearance and your living space. You know, you're doing it to make yourself more appealing to other people, and eventually you'll start doing it just for yourself. And that is more important, that you're doing it for you. Everything that you do to improve yourself, if you do it for you first, then it'll have more of an impact on other people as well. That's my last statement of the night.
No, that's actually really important.
Yeah.
And that's
Here's something important for guys to learn. Learn to be grossed out by your own living environment.
Yes.
Just
By your
force
own
yourself to
appearance.
live in cleanliness.
Be repulsed by everything about you constantly, and that'll help you be better at everything constantly.
That's true. You know what helps
He's
with
right.
that? Catholicism. I would highly recommend that.
Okay, because I've got a roommate whose his room is filled to the brim with trash. Like he can't get to his bed.
Oh, I've just seen another Theo clip. For shirt. Look at their Sean. Look at their Real Fight's last comment.
Yeah.
That should be a shirt.
Why pull out when you could just leave it in?
Oh my god!
It's a little pruned, a little wrinkly, but
That
it'll
should be a
fine.
shirt. That should be a shirt.
God damn.
And Nate's too. Nate's too is a good one.
Cap it before you tap. Yeah, I do. I hope
Both of them.
So my brand is associated with not using condoms and using condoms.
Yes,
That's interesting.
You get both sides, dude.
That's interesting.
Coming soon to the merch store is Touch Grass branded condoms.
Wait, no, I've got it. So,
Mason,
my
just
school-
grass.
if you're worried about, like, for all those reasons about not other than just you know unplanned pregnancy, if you're using it because you're that worried about catching something, maybe be more selective. And this goes both. I'm talking to men and women. Be more selective of your partners. There's more than one option out there. Don't go for the gross.
I've got the perfect solution for what we should do with Theo's merch store. You see, my school gives away free condoms every so while, like they have an organization, and they put up one with ribbed tattoo condoms. So we got to make one that just says "feminist whisperer." That leaves a tattoo of that feminist whisperer.
I'm thinking like
For
Theo's face.
the
Theo's
fucking
face.
reservoir tip, and it expands.
I was gonna say Theo's face, like JD Vance is like, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Put that under the wrapper.
Think twice.
Next time you're called a dickhead, you could just be that. That's right. Have you seen my merch store?
Or you could just put your face in JD Vance and put choices.
This is great. We're definitely gonna have to expand this.
Oh, great use of words. Great use of
there.
words.
No. So it looks like shout out to the 4% of my audience that's female, by the way. It looks like they're in the chat today. Shout out to the W's in the chat for the 4%.
Theo's just unwrapping all the implications of this.
So many entendres here.
Yeah, man. This is great, man. I'm glad that happened today. That's good. All right, folks. We got to wrap this thing up. We're coming up on 2.5 hours. I haven't updated my D&D stats yet. I got so much to do today, folks. What do you say? What do you say we get out of here? Let's start at the bottom. Iron, where can we find you if we want more gems of wisdom like that?
Absolutely. Over on my channel, Iron Oxide, I got the weekly Rogues Gallery every Friday at 5:35 p.m. PST. Joined by most everybody here, at least occasionally on the panel. Going to be expanding the show to twice a week, weekend Rogues Gallery and weekly Rogues Gallery, which will be on Wednesdays at 5:35 PST. Already got that in lock, hopefully to roll out in March. So we'll be booking guests. So if you're interested, I finally do have my DMs open. I realized I put out a post, hey, message me or Salita for booking, and nobody was responding. Well, we're both retarded and had our DMs closed and didn't know it. That's been corrected. Reach out if you're a larger creator, smaller creator, just somebody who wants to join and talk, and we might have a conversation about that. I will be over on Full Metal Nate's channel for Curse of Strahd here in just a couple hours. Really looking forward to that. And I can occasionally be seen on Touchgrass with this gentleman above me, and this show when asked with this gentleman off over there, and that's about it.
All right, Selena, what kind of stuff are you cooking on these days?
Gas.
Well, I am. I'm producer over there at Iron Oxide's Rogues Gallery. I am working on booking. You can see me on here when asked. And other than that, I'm not really doing much with my own channel right now.
Yeah.
Just I have ideas, so just keep an eye on X. But in the meantime, I just like being invited to everyone else's channel.
Yay.
So thank you guys.
Excellent. Yeah. Emerald, are we able to put links in the chat? Are we able to do that? I did not get any of the links ready.
I was gonna try, but like I don't know how this runs.
It's my own dang fault too. Is that I need to? I have an Iron Word document that has links. I have my show. I've not made one for yours yet. That I have the links already saved on there.
Well, just use the. It's the same people. It's the same people. It's the same fucking people.
All right. Okay, as producer, I don't have to take this abuse.
God damn. Darnell, we're putting you in horny timeout. Arza, what are you into sexually?
wait, you want to go for
have the time on this? Do you have the time?
2 hours?
Oh, sorry. That was a
okay. You know, guys are nice, girls are nice. Some nicer than others. We'll see how it goes.
What is he not into, ladies and gentlemen?
Anything that isn't a guy or a girl. So none of those in betweens and no Transformers.
All right, man. What are you doing on your channel these days? I know you're doing a big push of releasing content, so let me know what's going on.
Well, first thing I need to ask is, I thought Selena and Oxide had a goal at 500 that they forgot to announce.
Oh yes, thank you so much.
Right.
You notice how he's so silent about this? Yeah. He's she's like, thank you.
Stop it. No. Stop it.
I think she just realized what he was referring to.
Sorry, Savage Dad. I tried.
The goal is simply to get Iron's channel to 500 subs.
Yep.
Okay, moving on.
Savage Dad will do the rest. Don't worry. But yeah, you know, I'm trying to get more videos out. I'm doing about like 3 to 4 a day, or not a day. Holy shit, that'd be like ridiculous. 3 to 4 a week. Just if there are news stories I can find. I'm not too busy with classwork. Pushing out videos. I'm up to 235 subs, which is pretty freaking chill. I didn't do a video today because I was busy, and I won't be doing one tomorrow because I'll be busy. But Monday, hopefully, there'll be something worth covering. Other than that, it's just daily videos and daily shorts on YouTube and Instagram at Arza Chats on all 3 programs. YouTube, X, and Instagram. And then, like I say on every show, if somebody likes what I have to say, like Sergeant Giratina did, and want to pit me out to other people, I gladly go on to like any show as long as there's not a conflicting schedule.
Yeah,
even if it makes me
ours is a good guest, and he shows up on time and contributes, and he doesn't tell us his sexual fantasies.
He dresses nice. He
which we appreciate.
And
we appreciate that. We appreciate that. All right, who's next? Emerald, what are you up to these days?
Well, let's see. Earlier this morning, you can catch it on the repeat. I was over on Sammy 3P. We were doing Cavecast, and we were talking about the duality of Batman and Bruce Wayne. He's doing a show, and I will be back on next week. Yeah, I'll be back next week, and we're going to be talking about the cave, the Bat Cave. Otherwise, will be back here on Touchgrass with Theo Snodgrass, and I have my show, which is insert title here, and that is on Friday nights at 9:30 PST with most of the people that are already on this panel as well. And I occasionally pop up over on Rogues Gallery, and probably more standardized moving towards the Wednesday, most possibly. Yeah, more plans on that's going on. Start working on getting the Rumble exclusive. All the good show titles already taken. Podcast. That one's going to be Rumble exclusive, and it's probably going to be more news based, and that we can talk a lot more openly on topics that, let's say, YouTube just doesn't like.
Thanks, buddy. This is BS Warren. This is a reference to a previous episode.
Watch the replay, dude. He gave us he willingly gave us information about his dating life.
I voluntarily I demonstrated that's how you handle being fucking grilled. You just sit there and fucking take it. Darnell, what are you up to these days?
I'm gonna be on Curse of Strahd in a little while with that man down there and this man right here, doing another D&D stream at Full Metal Nate's channel. Then I'm pretty much done until next Friday for insert title here with this lovely man and this lovely man. I do have and then back here Saturday morning. I do have a couple of shows that are in the works. I've talked to a few people about getting stuff done. I'm not going to really give any information about it yet because it's still in its infancy. So yeah, that's what I got. Oh, and then there you can check out my YouTube music, AI music at youtube.com/@shamrecords. It's AI generated music. I also do music for channels. If you want new music, you can contact me. I'll on X at Darnell Quigley. No E before the Y. I do it for fun. I don't charge anything. It's just something I do for the hell of it.
All right. Very cool. Oh shit, Toasty's here. What's up, girl? I missed her.
4% just got a percentile larger.
There she is. Hell yeah. Shout out to the 4%. I'm telling you guys, hot chicks watch this show. That's who. It's not a lot of chicks, but all the chicks who watch this show are hot. Objectively. Shout out to the 4%. Some of them are rude as fuck, like Gall. I didn't have time to finish that. I'm gonna have to deal with that later.
You gotta how?
So that's. Don't you worry about that, son. You're not old enough.
Well, you already told us what you're into, so we all know why, Theo.
I don't feel safe.
So listen,
They'll give me shit.
Am I being confronted? Oh man,
He is hard as a rock,
bro. I do,
Yep.
dude. There's something about a woman just like reading me for filth and telling me about all my moral inadequacies that gets me just bricked up. I don't know what it is.
How was your relationship with your mom?
I just, you know what? Let's not. All
We're
right.
not going to talk about that. No.
You
Next
can't flip the
Saturday.
script on him.
Oh yes,
Anyway.
I can.
Anyway, promoting my material now, if you don't mind. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on
She like
X.
it when we
Follow
call
me. Oh, sorry.
She like it. She like it when you have to call her mommy.
You know what? You know what? Can we move on? Can we move off of this? I don't. This is not all right. Moving on. What was I? Oh, I'm on Twitch now. That's new. So we got a Twitch up there. So follow me on Twitch if you're a Twitch person. Let's see where the show's going to all those locations. Also subscribe to the Patreon. I got one crowdwork show up there already. And I'm filming another one in a couple of weeks. So we're just gonna keep
Subscribe to the patriarchy.
Yeah, subscribe to the Patreon and support the patriarchy. We're gonna be at the cost of only $5 a month. You get all the shit I make. That's how it is. You get
Literal
all the shit. I make. All the shit I make as fast as I can make it. You get all of it for $5.
Literal
a month.
shit.
And I need that. Yeah, and so I need that $5 to. If I get enough of you to give me $5, then I might actually be able to afford to keep the lights on over here.
He needs that validation.
Yes, I need. Well, I need the money more than the validation. You can hate me. Just give me money.
Yeah,
you don't have to like what I'm doing. Just give me the money. Merch store's coming soon. So we're very excited about that. And we're going to put whatever shit Iron comes up with the merch store, I'm sure. Yeah, it's going to be fucking sick. It's going to be badass. Let's see. Oh, this show is at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to be on D&D right after this, 3:30 Pacific Standard Time over on Full Metal Nate's channel. Crowdwork show is coming up, but I don't know what my release date is on that. I should be releasing shorts and stuff to promote the Patreon. That the full Crowdwork show is paywalled, but I'm going to be releasing shorts from it pretty soon, so look out for that. I don't know. Don't do drugs, kids. That's it. Oh, yeah, I'm on insert title here, and I'm on Rogues Gallery too, but they already mentioned those. Okay, I think that's it, everybody. This has been fun. We did good. We did a multi-platform stream, and nobody died. All right.
Yay!
Hard out.
Wait,
You still got a few seconds.